Yo, it's your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, back at you with a new video. Today is Tuesday, August 12th, 2025, with your boy Ryan and the Northwest Sports Fanatics. Make sure you guys subscribe to the channel. Smash that like button either now or on your way out. Donate to your boy if you can. Cash App $ ORIONNWSF or the YouTube Super Chat right here. We got the Seattle Mariners versus the Baltimore Orioles. First pitch is going to be here in roughly 5 minutes. So let's cue up the music, take a look at the thumb, and let's get into the starting lineups. Happy Tuesday, everyone. And on the left, the best catcher in baseball, big dumper Cal Raleigh. And on the right, the Orioles stud catcher, Adley Rutschman. Now let's get into the starting lineups here first for the visiting Seattle Mariners. Leading off for the Mariners in left field, Randy Arozarena. Batting second, catching today for Seattle, big dumper Cal Raleigh. 45 home runs and 98 ribbies. Maybe after this game, he's at 46 or 47 and over 100 ribbies. Having a career year, not only for catchers in 2025, but is having one of the best seasons out of any catcher of all time. Let's go, big dumper. Batting third, center fielder, a man that has been so hot that it's propelled us to a 7-game win streak and really has taken off since the All-Star break, Julio Rodriguez. Tridents up, let's go Julio. And you always need a partner in crime. You might have the best catcher in baseball batting at one spot, but you're also going to need your Batman to your Robin. Hopefully Julio will step up here today. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, first baseman Josh Naylor. Batting fifth, playing third base, good vibes only, Eugenio Suarez. Batting sixth, DHing for Seattle, Jorge Polanco. Batting seventh, playing right field, Dominic Canzone. He is definitely due for a Dom Bomb, baby. Batting eighth, playing shortstop, ice water in his veins, J.P. Crawford. Really has embraced the 8-hole. And in that hitting role, it's a little bit, going through those peaks and valleys, leading off and then being in the 9-hole and then now going back to the leadoff spot and not playing well and then getting moved to the 8th. But I think that this is really the best spot for J.P. Crawford, and I think he's going to excel the rest of the season here. And batting ninth, playing second base, it is Cole Young. And on the mound for the Mariners with a 7-5 record, an ERA of 4.04, missed the first 50-plus games, obviously with some inflammation. He is back and obviously just trying to get himself into a good rhythm. It is George Kirby. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Baltimore Orioles. Leading off for the Orioles at second base, Jackson Holliday. Batting second, playing third base for the O's, Jordan Westberg. Batting third, playing shortstop for Baltimore, Gunnar Henderson. Batting cleanup, batting fourth, catching for the Orioles, Adley Rutschman. Batting fifth, DHing for Baltimore, Ryan Mountcastle. Batting sixth, playing first base, Kobe Mayo. Batting seventh, playing right field, Ryan Noda. Batting eighth, playing left field, Dylan Carlson. And batting ninth, playing center field, Greg Allen. And on the mound with a 8-8 record, an ERA of 4.35, it is Dean Kramer. Tridents up, let's go M's. We're going to be shooting for 100 likes and 100 on the dono train. If you haven't smashed the like button yet, please do. And hopefully we can get to a fast number within the first few innings. All day in the building. What's good? We're having a heat wave over here. So again, no matter if we have, overcast weather, if we have a snowstorm, a hailstorm, or some rain, I'm going to be grinding. But I will be honest, the hardest streams to do is when it ends up being like 100 over here. Even with fans and AC going within the house, it's still 80 plus, here in the building. So again, a little uncomfortable. Obviously, it's a lot hotter outside. We've had 4 consecutive days of 100. And again, tomorrow we start to get a little bit of the heat wave to, slightly dissipate and go away, which will be nice. We should have about 7 to 10 days in the 80s or lower. So again, it's been a grind these last few days, and hopefully with this heat wave coming to an end, hopefully we can get another dub on the win column for the Seattle Mariners. Dean Kramer on the mound warming up. And approaching the box will be left fielder Randy Arozarena. Wasn't able to homer against his former team against the Tampa Bay Rays, so don't be shocked if he ends up homering in one of the 3 games here on the road. Batting second, big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh, tied with Johnny Bench with 45 home runs, which was number 2 overall in 1970. If he ends up getting a home run today or sometime this series, that'll put him exclusively in second place. And again, number 1 is Salvador Perez with 48. Cal Raleigh's at 45 with 50 games to go. So we know he's going to obliterate the record. It just depends on how many home runs is he going to obliterate the record by. Is he going to get to 58 and beat it by 10? Is he going to get to something crazy like, 65 to 68? We don't know, but he definitely is starting to get on a tear, and hopefully we'll be able to see that here today. And batting third, again, you got to have a partner in crime when you're starting to go off in the series. And again, we've had 7 games in a row. Julio Rodriguez has been brilliant. And again, we want to make sure that we're getting good singles, we're getting doubles, but maybe an occasional home run here or there, tridents up, to definitely propel us to victory. And again, right now, between Cal and Julio, there's not really too many people that are playing better than that dynamic duo right now. And hopefully we can keep it up, because again, road games have been a challenge for everyone in MLB except the Milwaukee Brewers. They're really the only team, obviously, with the best record in baseball, 10 games or around that, 10 games above 500 on the road. Everyone else in MLB, including the elite teams, usually only a couple games above 500 on the road or a couple games below. So again, there is something to improve, and hopefully we can get it here. First pitch to Randy Arozarena, and a nice single right up the middle, and Randy stays hot. I like it, baby. Nice job. And again, I usually want, our players to work the count a little more, but if you're going to throw a fastball right down the middle, right, again, we're going to get people like Randy, Cal, and Julio will take a chance and swing, and it pays off for Randy Arozarena. Way to bring the electricity early. A single already on board for big dumper Cal Raleigh, and if Cal can connect, it'll be easy 2-0 lead, and then we got Julio up on deck next. Let's go. First pitch. And Cal's trying to take advantage of that first pitch strike, but unfortunately he flies out to right, and that is 1 away. Obviously, the Mariners are going to be very aggressive with the swings, and we are one of the best teams stealing bags. Again, we are number 1 in MLB, since the All-Star break, and I don't think that will change anytime soon. Down goes Cal with the pop-up in the right field, 1 away. Next up is Julio Rodriguez. Let's go, J-Rod. Tridents up. Let's go, M's. Let's go. And Randy going into second, safe. Just as we were talking about guys swiping bags, Josh Naylor has been amazing, but you're getting others to step up as well. Nice job by Randy. And first pitch to Julio Rodriguez is a ball cutter, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes from Kramer to Julio. Let him know, baby. Let's go. Yeah, I'm really more concerned about my pup with the heat wave, but usually we wake up early around 6 a.m., 7 a.m., go for a walk, and then do another one around 9 a.m. And even at that time, it's almost 80 at that point, so it's almost a cutoff point for her. But again, we usually still get, the exercise in because we need to be healthy. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike to Julio Rodriguez. 2-1 pitch, low and away with a sinker, 92 miles an hour by Kramer. 3 balls and 1 strike with a runner at second, Randy Arozarena with 1 out. We're knotted up here at 0 early. And again, the Orioles are definitely not as good as they were last year. They don't have Corbin Burns, the stud ace pitcher. He's no longer on the roster. And then obviously Anthony Santander, was a big part of their success last year, now on the Toronto Blue Jays. So again, it's kind of crazy how you can be so good one year and then kind of fall off. But again, if you end up, eliminating a few of your key pieces, those are guys that you can't really replace, and they haven't been able to replace those guys. They still got Adley Rutschman and Gunnar Henderson, but again, it doesn't have the same type of feel as it did last year. But that still doesn't mean that it's going to be easy winning on the road against this team. It's going to be very difficult. 3-2 pitch in play, and Julio grounds out to third, throw to first, and that is 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, who's actually been an absolute stud, been more valuable up to this point than even Eugenio Suarez. He does provide the vibes, but his numbers haven't been as good. You're getting stolen bags, you're getting singles, you're getting doubles, you're getting home runs. And again, Josh Naylor is the real deal Holyfield. It's the best first baseman we've had since Ty France. And I think a lot of people would say he's better. Again, he gives you a different type of vibe. He's probably really the only guy on the team that is super serious, but we don't mind as long as he's producing. First pitch in play, and Naylor singles to right. Arozarena hustling from second to third and coming in safe. And just like that, 1-0 Mariners. And it shows you the value on Josh Naylor. And again, we haven't had this type of productivity at first base since Ty France, and this is even better. Way to bring the electricity, way to get off to an early lead. We're going to need it. 1-0 M's. Let's go. That's what I'm talking about, baby. First pitch to Eugenio Suarez, low and away with the 4-seam fastball. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, fouls it off right down the middle with the cutter. 1 ball and 1 strike to Eugenio Suarez. And one thing that I am noticing with Kramer, normally pitchers that go against the Mariners will not pitch a first pitch right down the middle like in previous years. Normally they're pitching low and away, high and away, or inside to try to jam the hitter. They're not kind of, go right down the middle to try to get that 0-1 count because they know, usually hitters are going to take advantage of that. And again, for whatever reason, maybe overconfident or thinking that he can get the job done. But if you're going to go right down the middle, you better pray you know who you're going to, because again, we're one of the hottest teams in baseball, since the All-Star break. And, if you're going to be a little overconfident, we will make you pay. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kramer to Suarez. Top of the first inning, 1-0 Mariners already. Let's go. Two 2-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Suarez. Mickey, Cody, all day. What's good? Heat wave over here, but again, today's the last day of the heat wave, so I just got to suck it up and grind it out. It's not ideal, when it's over 100 outside, even with AC and fans going. It's still around that 80-degree temperature here in the studio, especially with everything. So a little uncomfortable, I won't lie, but again, if we can get a Mariners dub, it'll be all worth it. Top of the first with a runner at first with 2 outs. 1-0 Seattle lead. Kramer on the mound. Gino in the box with a 2-2 count with 2 outs. 2-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. And it's crazy. Out of all the players on the Mariners, Gino has been the one that has probably struggled the most out of everyone 1 through 9. But again, it shows you how good we are. We're bringing him in for vibes. His defense might not be as good as it was a few years ago, but he still gives you, those good vibes only. And it gives you that key piece at third that at some point, he's going to heat up. And again, it's hard to hit at T-Mobile, but now on the road, it would not shock me if you see Gino homer at some point in this series or when we end up going to New York against the Mets and homering there. So got to be a little patient. Everyone else is playing top tier, and Naylor is definitely doing enough for the both of them. But again, we are still waiting for Gino to kind of find his stride. 1-0 Seattle lead. Great start for the Mariners with a Josh Naylor RBI for Randy Arozarena that was sitting at second base and had some good wheels, and off a single made it all the way home. 1-0, right ends up. Naylor, such a valuable piece. And now let's get into the starting lineups for the home Baltimore Orioles. Leading off for the O's, second baseman Jackson Holliday. Batting second, third baseman Jordan Westburg. And batting third, shortstop Gunnar Henderson. On the mound for the Mariners with a 7-5 record and ERA of 4.04, it is George Kirby. And again, pitching has definitely not been as good as it has been in years past. But again, if you look at our team top to bottom, with starting pitching, bullpen, and 1 through 9 and bench, I feel that we do have the best team in the American League. There are teams that have better records, like the Tigers and Blue Jays, and the chances of catching them record-wise is probably not going to happen. But it really just depends on, not how you start, but how you finish. And again, if we can continue to stay hot after the All-Star break, this could be a very magical year for the Seattle Mariners. And again, there's quite a few people that are thinking the same thing. And it's not just Mariner fans, it's people that are non-Mariner fans, people on MLB Network and some of the MLB experts. They do have a lot of confidence in us, which is exciting because this is the best team that we've had since 2001 in Ichiro's rookie year. And I don't know about you, but again, being able to have someone and a team this good to be able to support that actually has a chance to make it to an ALDS, ALCS, or possible World Series this year or next year feels pretty good. Bottom of the first inning, 1-0 Seattle lead. Yeah, I don't think we're going to run out of gas. If anything, I think we're going to get better because pitching was a little shaky at the beginning of the year, and I think that they will lock in as we get closer and closer, to the end of the regular season. Victor Robles is going to be playing today in AAA, so he's just going to be around the corner in the last week of August, beginning of September, and Bryce Miller sounds like he'll be coming back pretty soon as well. So, before this month is over, we should have Bryce Miller and Robles back. And again, not many teams are going to have quality pieces like that will be coming back right in the nick of the time of the playoffs. So again, as long as we don't have any major injuries, that may be the only thing that will hold us back. But we do have some pretty good depth on the bench in the farm still. So I still feel confident about where we stand. First pitch to Holliday, fouls it off. 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch with the knuckle curve, grounds out to second. Cole Young is there, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Down goes Jackson Holliday. Next up for George Kirby is two-hole hitter, third baseman Jordan Westburg. And again, if you look at, everyone's roster, Yankees are reeling, Red Sox are kind of up and down, Blue Jays and Tigers have proven that they are good, but again, Blue Jays have stayed hot. Tigers have kind of hit a wall after the All-Star break, but they're still a good team. As Westburg grounds out, throw to first, and that is 2 away. But again, we're creeping up on the Astros, and it's just a matter of time before we end up passing them and never looking back in the division. Now, the Astros more than likely will still make the playoffs, and it'll be a tough team to manage and match up with. But I like our chances against the Astros, Blue Jays, Yankees, Red Sox, Tigers, Guardians, whoever it may be. It feels like a very special year here in 2025. First pitch from Kirby to Gunnar Henderson. Knuckle curve, low and at the knee. Should have been a strike, but called ball. 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Gunnar Henderson. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes and 100 on the dono train. 1-1 pitch, knuckle curve, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kirby to Henderson. Yeah, it's not really a matter if we're going to make the playoffs or not. We're making it. There's no doubt about that. Based off our record and our schedule, we are going to make it. It's just how far are we going to go? You know, are we going to be able to, go to the ALDS? Do we make it to the ALCS? Do we overachieve and make it to the World Series? And again, last time I checked, I think they had us second or third in the American League based off percentage to make the World Series at like 9 to 10%. Obviously, you would assume the Blue Jays, Tigers at this point based off record, people are going to be leaning on them. And obviously, we know how good the Astros are typically, but it definitely feels like a different type of year. 3-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes. Nobody on and 2 outs. 1-0. Seattle lead with a Josh Naylor RBI single, bringing Randy home to give us that early edge. 3-2 pitch, and Henderson grounds out, and that is out number 3. End of the first inning, 1-0 Seattle. Good job there by George Kirby early, and hopefully that will continue in the matchup. And we'll take slow dribblers any day of the week. And nice hustle there by Naylor. His defense at first is underrated. And I don't think anyone anticipated him being one of the best in MLB in stealing bases and swiping bags, but that's what we're getting. And again, that's exactly what we needed. Now we just need Gino to play like, he typically played, there in Arizona, but obviously it's a lot easier to hit home runs in Arizona than it is in Seattle. But on this road trip, hopefully we'll get a few of those guys that, have been a little under the radar, maybe, a little sluggish like Gino and Dom. And maybe we can get some home runs out of those 2 guys to propel us to victory number 8 in a row here today. Another guy that has been a little under the radar that is overdue for a home run as well, besides Dominic Canzone and Eugenio Suarez, this guy right here. DHing today, it's Jorge Polanco. He's gotten close a few times, back to the wall, but hopefully we'll be able to get some singles, doubles, and maybe a home run or 2 in the series would be fantastic, even though it's not likely he'll get a lot, but you never know. Polo's one of those guys, got extremely hot in April, early in the season, batting 350 to 450, had 9 homers crushed in April, and hasn't really hit too many since then, but still a threat from time to time in the box. Batting second in the 7-hole, right fielder Dominic Canzone. Obviously another individual overdue for a homer or a big play. And batting third, shortstop in the 8-hole, ice water in his veins, J.P. Crawford. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Yeah, Naylor's been the better player out of the 2 so far, but Gino gives you vibes. And again, you can't underrate the vibes. It's like Victor Robles as well. There's certain guys, that'll make everyone on the team better. They just have those good, positive vibes when others, may be down. And Naylor's not going to be very vocal. He's kind of serious. So he's not going to be a guy that's really going to motivate with words. He's going to motivate based off his play. So even though Gino hasn't been able to be on the Naylor level yet, I would not be shocked at some point if he does start heating up similar to Naylor. And again, it's just like Julio and Cal, you're going to go in waves where you're going to be hot, you're going to slump for a little bit, and then you're going to get hot again. And again, 1 through 9, I wouldn't take any other lineup in the American League over Seattle. Again, we have a lot of potential. We just now need to do it. First pitch from Kramer to Polo, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Polo. Let him know, baby. 1-1 pitch, and Polo singles to left. There we go, baby. Nice job by Jorge Polanco. Sometimes you just got to talk up a player, and the sports gods will hear it, and then they'll give them the extra juice to get it done. Nice job, Polo. Next up, right fielder Dominic Canzone. And we can hope that Dom can get a couple singles, throughout the series, maybe a double, at one point, and obviously hoping that we can get at least a home run in the series with Dom. First pitch from Kramer to Dom. Big swing and a miss, low and away. Splitter, 80 miles an hour, 0-1 count. One pitch in play, and there you go, baby. Fielder's choice. Polo is out at second. I was hoping that was going to drop, but it does not. Wow, Noda with the catch there and right. Again, if he just misses that by an inch or two, that could have been a big, big play. One away. Next up is shortstop J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. And based off age and production, Naylor would be the one that you would want to sign, first, obviously. But then, Gino is getting up there in age, but we do still have, Ben Williamson waiting in the wings. And, it's not crazy to think that if they decide to move on from Gino, it really depends on what happens this year. Like if we actually win the World Series or get there or make a deep run or not. It'll be, about the money and the years, and we'll see if it ends up happening. But, I don't think that we would be in a horrible spot if we only had Gino for this year. But Naylor definitely is someone that we need to try to see if he wants to be here. If we could actually have him on the team long term, that could really help us out. One less spot that we would have to upgrade. We still would need, Ben to be better as a hitter at third, but defensively, he's already got it. First pitch from Kramer to Crawford. Takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Splitter outside, 82 miles an hour. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to JP. 1-1 pitch. Four-seam fastball, high and away, missing the strike zone by a few inches there. 92 miles an hour by Kramer. 2 balls and 1 strike with a runner at first with 1 out. Top of the second inning, 1-0 Seattle. Yeah, I wouldn't be expecting a whole lot of Ks out of Kirby. I would say 4 to 7 is where I would be putting him. And again, in the past, when our hitting was terrible, almost every starter on our team could get to like 8, 9, or 10, and then sometimes above 10. But, as you have seen in MLB in 2025, it's quite a bit harder to get 10 Ks in a game, no matter, if you're elite or not. It's even guys like Scooball and Skeens aren't getting 10, every single outing. So it definitely is, harder. It's not impossible, but you definitely have to get into a rhythm early to be able to hit that number. 3-1 pitch, fouled off, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to JP. Gained 3 subs already. Head up to the 3 new subs. 95 to go to get to 21,500. And we've been doing about 5 to 15 on average, but we have had a few streams where we've done 30 to 60 in one single stream. So, you never know when that, big spark, is going to happen. Even the opponent may not be the greatest opponent. Like we ended up gaining 80 in 2 days roughly against the White Sox. So anything is possible. And 3-2 pitch, chopped up the middle. Tap to second, throw to first, and a big double play on J.P. Crawford. Good defense there by the O's, good awareness, and hopefully that'll be the only double play that we hit into all game. Good defense there by the O's, and we still got a 1-0 lead. All right, let's see who's up next here in the bottom of the second inning for the Baltimore Orioles. Next up for the O's, cleanup hitter, catcher Adley Rushman. Batting second in the 5-hole, DHing Ryan Mountcastle. And batting third, first baseman Kobe Mayo. Trident's up, let's go M's. All right, we just hit 50 likes on the stream. Great job. Now we're at 52. We got about 100 people in the room that haven't hit the like button yet. We get half of you to do it. We'll be at 100, but we're at 52, so good start. And then hopefully we can get to that 100, 125, 150 like range. And obviously we'll be shooting for 100 on the donos and shooting somewhere between 5 and 20 subs per stream. George Kirby on the mound, 7-5 record with a 4.04 ERA. And obviously missed the first 50-plus games, actually shoulder inflammation, so it wasn't really the most ideal start to a season, missing the first 50-plus. And he was terrible in his first 3 starts. But since then, after going like 0 for 3, 7-5 record after that, that's pretty damn good. So 7-2 record after coming in injured 0-3, I would say that's pretty damn good. We just need to get that ERA from 4 to under 3 if possible. First pitch from Kirby to Rushman. Takes a strike looking low and away. Paints that corner beautifully with the slider, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and inside. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Rushman. Six Face getting us started on the dono train. I appreciate you. First dono to the channel. Unless you had a different username in the past. I appreciate you. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. We're at 2:98 to go to hit our first goal. And if you got a favorite player that you want to showcase, let me know, and I'll get a couple photos, HD 4K photos for you. Six Face, appreciate you. We're at 2:98 to go. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees with the knuckle curve. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Rushman. 1-2 pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Rushman. 2-2 pitch, knuckle curve, and Rushman grounds out to third. Gino is there, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Next up for the O's, in the 5-hole, DHing Ryan Mountcastle. Kirby on the mound, Mountcastle in the box. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Let's go, Hams. First pitch from Kirby to Mountcastle. High and away with a sinker. 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes the strike looking low and away. Slider, 87 miles an hour by George Kirby. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Mountcastle. 1-1 pitch, high and away. Sinker missing the strike zone by a few inches, 95 miles an hour. 2 balls and 1 strike to Ryan Mountcastle. 2-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Mountcastle. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Mariner lead with a Josh Naylor RBI to bring home Randy from second, making it an easy 1-0 lead. And again, we want to make sure we're attacking and being aggressive early. And hopefully we'll get a few home runs in this matchup and in this series as well. We've got a 3-game set here in Baltimore, and then we end up going to New York and we face the Mets. So it's not going to be easy. It's going to be tough, but hopefully we can find a way to win 2 out of 3. Here against the O's, and winning 2 out of 3 or 3 out of 4, depending on how long that Met series is. I haven't peeked ahead, but I probably will here in a moment. 2-2 pitch, low and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Mountcastle. Bottom of the second, 1-0 Mariner lead. 3-2 pitch, and Mountcastle grounds out to first. Toe tap on the bag there by Naylor, and that is 2 away. Next up for George Kirby, 6th-hole hitter, first baseman Kobe Mayo. Cool kid in the building. What's good? What's good, brother? First pitch from Kirby DeMayo takes a strike looking. 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, takes a strike looking right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby DeMayo. Mike in the building. What's good? Trident's up. Bottom of the second inning, 1-0 Mariners on the road. Obviously, a 7-game win streak intact. We're going for number 8. And, Josh Naylor proving his worth with an RBI single, for Randy Arozarena, hustling from second all the way home. And we got an early 1-0 lead. And I like our chances not only today, but in the series as well. 0-2 pitch, low and away with a slider, 87 miles an hour by Kirby. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby DeMayo. And that is out number 3. There we go, baby. End of the second inning. George Kirby wheeling and dealing. And you can already tell, with our starting pitching, if we're going to be good or not. And again, with Kirby and, Gilbert and Castillo and Wu and Logan Evans and obviously Bryce Miller kind of waiting in the wings. We haven't pitched like we normally have, where we're like a top 3 pitching team and one of the worst hitting teams. Now we're one of the best hitting teams, and now we're kind of middle of the pack as far as pitching, usually somewhere between like 10th and 15th, which is kind of a rude awakening when you're normally like 2nd or 3rd as far as a staff. But, the bullpen overall has been pretty good. We've had some moments where we've been reeling a little bit, but you could have said that for the starters as well. Hitting has been absolutely fantastic, and obviously the additions of Naylor and Gino have already started to pay off. More Naylor than Gino at this point. Gino has probably struggled the most out of anybody in the lineup, as of late. But again, that doesn't mean that he won't be able to heat up at some point. And obviously when Gino is on your team, it's always going to be good vibes only. So even though he may not be producing a lot of home runs or big hits or RBIs, just his presence on the field will help the attitude of the other players. And you can't put a price on that. That's facts. Let's go to the top of the 3rd inning with a 1-0 lead. Let's see who's up next for them M's. Next up for the Mariners, second baseman in the 9-hole, who's made a bunch of strides here in his rookie season, Cole Young. Has had a couple game winners for us, RBI singles. He's not going to hit a whole lot of home runs. He's going to hit under 10 for the year, probably somewhere in that 5, 6, 7 range before the season is up. Only has a couple at the moment, but you never know when Cole could be that guy that gives you that unexpected home run to help us win a big series or a big game. Batting second, 1-for-1 with a run, left fielder Randy Arozarena. Played great against his former team, the Tampa Bay Rays, but was unable to homer in that series. So don't be surprised if Randy homers in this series at some point. And batting third, looking for home run number 46, the best catcher in baseball, Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. And not only the best catcher in baseball this year, he's got a chance to be the best catcher in baseball for many, many years to come. First pitch from Kramer to Young, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, takes another strike looking right down the middle, 4-seam fastball, 92 miles an hour on back-to-back pitches to Cole Young. No balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Young. Let's go, Cole. See if we can get Cole on with a single. 0-2 pitch, low and away with the splitter. 82 miles an hour by Kramer. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and no outs. Top of the 3rd inning, 1-0 Mariners. And with Kramer, he's got an 8-8 record with a 4.35 ERA. So based off those stats, I imagine he'll get a few Ks here and there, but we should be able to get 1 to 3 runs on him before he exits, and then hopefully a couple after against their pen if they have a meltdown. 1-2 pitch, fouled off high and away with the sinker. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kramer to Young. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Cole Young, and that is 1 away. Doesn't get a base hit at his first at-bat, but still have faith for later in the game. Next up for the Mariners, 1-for-1 with a run, left fielder Randy Arozarena, who swung at a first pitch strike right down the middle, got a single, stole second, and then we ended up getting a big RBI by Naylor in the first inning to give us the 1-0 lead. Let's go, Randy. First pitch, takes a strike looking low and at the knees. Should have been called ball outside of the box, but again, we'll see how this ump calls this game. And it seems like, we get more of a 50-50 type of ump game when we're at home at T-Mobile. When we go on the road, it kind of feels like it's 60-40 in most games, but sometimes it ends up being like 95-5 or 90-10, like when we went to the Bronx against the Yankees, where it was like everything was going against us. So as long as it's not that one-sided, I don't mind a couple bad, calls here and there, as long as you're doing it for both teams. 0-1 pitch, in play, popped up, and out at second, and that is 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. 0 for 1. I would like to see him work the count a little bit, try to find that sweet spot, that perfect pitch, and hopefully we'll get home run number 46 here today. First pitch from Kramer to big dumper, big swing and a miss, low and away, 0-1 count. And also I kind of feel like when Cal starts off the game batting left-handed, he's got a better chance of getting a home run. Not to say that he can't hit homers from the right-hand side. He still has in that 16, 17-ish range from the right, but a majority of those home runs, in the high 20s or 30s are going to be from that left side. And then as the game progresses, if you end up having a, bullpen pitcher that is a lefty and he's got to switch to be a righty later, it usually suits him better. But again, we have seen him hit 2 from the left, 2 from the right, and then obviously 1 from the left and 1 from the right. So Cal really can do it all. 0-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kramer to big dumper. Appreciate you. 1-2 pitch, fouled off, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kramer to Raleigh. Yeah, Cal definitely is deserving of the award, not just by having one of the best, catcher seasons of 2025. I don't think people are realizing he's having one of the best seasons of any catcher that has ever played the game in 150 years. So for all those people that are Yankee fans or, Judge guys, I get it. Aaron Judge, obviously is going to always have the great, batting average, and he's going to have, all of those main stats, in his favor. Same thing with Shohei Ohtani. But again, if you're looking at this year, this would be the year that you definitely could give the award to someone other than Judge or Ohtani. And on the National League side, Ohtani more than likely will win it. But, again, there may be someone that will be close, but not as close as Cal and Judge based on who's going to win there. 1-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to big dumper. 2-2 pitch. Curveball, high and away. Countdown was full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to big dumper. And I think it's kind of funny, too, because, you get all these people that are hating on Cal. Cal is not a fucking center fielder. He doesn't play in the outfield. He's not like, a Judge or an Ohtani type of player. He's a catcher. And I feel like a lot of fans just don't recognize how hard it is to be a good player at catcher. And not only that, to be able to hit home runs on the same level as an elite Hall of Fame, outfielder, or a guy that can play, obviously, DH and pitcher like Shohei Ohtani. The things that Cal is doing this year, we may never see ever again. I hope that we still have, seasons like this, and I believe that we will. Cal was already hitting as Raleigh grounds out to the catcher for out number 3. But Cal was already hitting, 29 to 34 home runs prior to this year. So he was already one of the best catchers in the game, but just people weren't giving him credit, and the Mariners weren't a playoff team. But now, since we're getting a little bit more pub and love from the media, and obviously using the torpedo bat, changing his mechanics, and having the best team that we've had since 2001, not only is he a great defensive catcher, throwing guys out from the knees at first, second, and third, but he's a switch hitter. He can hit homers from both sides, and there's not really anybody like him in the game. And even if you go back and look at players that, played Yogi Berra, Johnny Bench, Mike Piazza, Buster Posey, Pudge Rodriguez, no one is like him. And again, when you're talking about guys hitting multi-homer games or switch hitters, the most famous switch hitter, or one of the most famous switch hitters of all time, is Mickey Mantle, right? And Mickey Mantle wasn't a catcher, and he's starting to even break Mickey Mantle records. But again, I feel that I don't know. I don't know if it's just Judge fans are angry that, someone is playing up to his standard, or Yankee fans are angry that they're not as good as they were last year and whatnot. But again, regardless if the Yankees, go on a deep run this year or not, obviously without Juan Soto and the pitching isn't as good, you could still appreciate greatness. Because I know us Mariner fans would, if we saw a catcher on, even if it was on the Yankees or the Red Sox and they were putting up monster numbers, we would have no problem on acknowledging greatness. But it feels like certain fan bases have an issue on, giving love where love needs to be given. I mean, fans are giving Judge and Ohtani love even when, fan bases don't like those guys. Why can't some of these other fan bases of those teams, give love to others? It's kind of odd, but, hopefully Cal will win it, and there's nothing that can be said at that point. And, there's a good chance that Cal will end up winning the home run title, and the better the Mariners do and the better Cal does, the more recognition, the Mariners get. And again, hopefully we can go on a deep run this year, and this should be the, first year in many years where we should be pretty competitive. Yeah, but we've been there too. You guys had a great year last year, but when you ended up, not having Corbin Burns or Anthony Santander, the team is completely different, and you guys have been riddled with a bunch of injuries. But again, we had 20 plus years with no playoffs and no hope. So again, Orioles fans, I get it. But again, Mariner fans have had it just as bad as anyone. We're the only team that's never been to a World Series. We had 20 years where we had no hope of making the postseason, but we still rooted like we were, and again, so, it may be a little bit different, being an Oriole fan, but, we definitely feel the pain. But now we're in a position with the number one farm and a great pitching staff, an ownership and a GM that's actually pulling the trigger to be able to get guys to come in. And, it feels like we're kind of heading in separate directions, but hopefully the Orioles will get good again. It was a kind of a nice thing to see last year, them shine. 2-1 pitch, and Noda fouled out, and that is one away. Next up is left fielder Dylan Carlson. Bottom of the third inning, 1-0 Mariner lead. Let him know, Salty. I'm not really sure why it takes us so long, to be able to, hit the number, but eventually we always do. We're always going to be hitting 100 to 200. Some people, it takes a little bit longer than others, but as long as we have, all day captain and the regulars in here to kind of put the pressure on the other people that haven't done it yet, then it'll help us. 0-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Carlson. 0-2 pitch. High and away. 4-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour, missing the strike zone by a few inches there by Kirby. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. 1-0 Mariner lead. Naylor with an RBI for Randy Arozarena to make it a 1-0 lead in the first inning. One-two pitch, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Carlson. Yeah, and obviously, going back in those old school days, it's not like there's going to be another Cal Ripken, ever again. And, they didn't call him the Iron Man for nothing. One of the toughest players that has ever played. And, when you're a small market team, like Baltimore and Seattle, it's not always going to go our way. Sometimes you have to get a little bit lucky, and you also have to be able to, make sure that you're progressing each year as Carlson gets a nice single up the middle. Young with an attempt to first, but off that double bounce was not able to get Dylan. He is safe. Next up is center fielder Greg Allen. Likes up, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 100 likes and 100 on the Dono train. And coincidentally, it's 100 degrees here, so it's definitely a grind. And I know some people would just say, fuck it, take the day off. But, no matter how hot it is, I got to grind it out. Bottom of the third inning, 1-0 Seattle lead. First pitch from Kirby to Allen. High and away, 1-0 count. But I think that's what makes things special, Dustin, for fans like yourself and like us here, is that when you actually start to get good, it means something, instead of just being a bandwagon fan of, whoever, Dodgers, Yankees, or whoever is the hot team at the moment, people being Brewer fans now out of nowhere, or Blue Jays, or, however they're going about it, or Cubs, or, and again, if you're going to stick with a team, stick with them, through the good and the bad. And again, I think for those people that are loyal, when you finally end up having an amazing year like you guys did last year, it meant a lot to those fans in Baltimore and across the globe. Even if it was only for that 1 year, I don't know if anyone anticipated it being this much of a drop-off, but no Burns and no Santander, you kind of knew that there could be a chance that you wouldn't be as good, but I don't think Oriole fans thought it would be this bad. And I don't think, MLB fans thought it would be this bad either, but hopefully you guys will be able to respond in a couple years and get back to the playoffs. You guys have a fun team to watch, and again, it's always going to mean more to those teams that are maybe not as consistent, and then they get good, and then you end up being that loyal fan, and it definitely means a hell of a lot more. 1-1 pitch, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kirby to Allen. Bottom of the 3rd inning with a runner at first with 1 out. 1-0 Mariner lead. Naylor with an RBI single to be able to give us the edge early. And we're hoping that Kirby can wheel and deal. 2-1 pitch in play. And we get Allen to ground out into the double play, throw to first. And there we go. We hit into a double play. We get one right back. I believe Allen is like 0 for 11, so he's still looking for his first hit there for the Baltimore Orioles. And nothing worse when you're hustling like he was right there, really trying to be able to beat out that throw. And again, Kirby and a lot of the other pitchers, again, some games, you're going to get 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 Ks, but others, it's going to be a lot of pop-ups and ground outs and just a couple Ks here and there. So again, end of the 3rd, 1-0 Mariner lead. Let's see who's up next here for the M's. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1, a man that's been incredibly hot, Julio Rodriguez. And again, we already know that we're going to be able to compete, on the daily with Cal Raleigh. He's going to keep us in every single game that we play, as long as he's DHing or catching, but preferably catching, because obviously we know he's much better than Mitch Garver behind the plate. But again, the guy that really makes this team go and gives us, that higher ceiling is this guy right here, Julio Rodriguez. When Julio plays great and it rubs off on the other players, not in those games where Julio plays great and no one else does, where we get those scenarios as well, where Julio will go like 3 for 5 with 2 home runs, and then we end up losing like 3-2. Excluding those type of games, when Julio is hot and then the other players match his energy, we're really hard to beat. And then if you get Julio and Cal on fire with home runs and then the pitching is good, we're almost unbeatable. Because you already know if Julio and Cal are homering, you're probably getting a few other guys homering as well. Naylor, Randy, Polo, Dom, JP, whoever it may be. So again, this is the best team that we've had since 2001. And hopefully we'll have a chance to prove that, as we go to the postseason. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariner lead. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Bring that electricity, Julio. Got to get this dub. We want 8 wins in a row. First pitch to Julio Rodriguez, low and away, 1-0 count. And again, I've liked to see the evolution in Julio. He's definitely more patient in the box. And he's kind of, in the beginning of the season, he was going to be out in the first 2 pitches. And he would be in 0-2 counts like 95% of the time. And unless you're Rod Carew, Tony Gwynn, Pete Rose, Ichiro, you're not going to get a hit on 0-2 that often. But now you're starting to see Julio get much better counts and kind of take his time. And every once in a while, like maybe 1 at-bat per game, he'll swing on that first pitch. And sometimes he'll get a home run or a single. And other times he'll pop up or ground out. But as long as he's not doing it every at-bat, then that's what we want. And again, I like the patience. 3-0 pitch. Takes the strike looking high and inside. 3 balls and 1 strike from Kramer to Julio. 3-1 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and inside, which should have been ball 4. Another bad call by the ump here on the road. And again, we've had a couple so far go against the M's. So far, maybe one bad call, from our pitching side, and there's at least 3 now favoring the O's when it should be a ball, and especially when it ends up being something that could have been like ball 4, or preventing a strikeout or getting a strikeout, calling a ball a strike or a striker a ball. It really does change the dynamic of a game, comparing a guy that should have been walked or a guy that's still in the box with the pitcher has a potential to strike him out and eliminate him. 3-1 pitch. That's fouled off. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Julio. Robles is playing for the Tacoma Rainiers, I believe, tonight. So, yeah, Victor Robles and Luke Raley are expected to play tonight for the Tacoma Rainiers in Vegas. So that's a great sign. And then obviously with Bryce Miller, we're waiting on him as well. And at some point, he'll take Logan Evans' spot at the 5. And then we'll have Brian Wu, George Kirby, Logan Gilbert, Luis Castillo, and then Bryce Miller. And then if Miller has an issue and has to, go back down, then we still got Logan Evans. And Logan's good at home, but he just can't win on the road. So we'll have to see what version we end up getting, of Bryce Miller when he comes back. But again, Luke Raley could be someone that we could have, fill in at DH or right field from time to time. But again, once Robles comes back, that's going to be money. And there we go. Julio gets the walk. At least karma ended up finding its way. It already should have been a walk, but we had to wait 2-3 more pitches. All right, Julio to first. Off the walk. Next up is Josh Naylor. Naylor already has 1 RBI. This would be a great time for a Josh Naylor 2-run blast to get us to a 3-0 lead or possibly another single or double for Josh Naylor. First pitch from Kramer to Naylor. High and away with a sinker, 1-0 count. There we go, 71 likes, 29 more to hit the goal. And we got at least 90 people in the room that haven't done it yet. We get 29 out of those 90, and then we'll hit the goal. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike swinging, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Naylor. And it's kind of funny, too, because if you notice when we first got Naylor, the vibes weren't as high as when we ended up getting Gino. And then it's like once he got his teammate there with him, even though Gino's production hasn't been the greatest, then Naylor kind of exploded and took off. You were getting a few plays here and there out of Naylor before Gino. But again, having the pairing of them together and being teammates and getting both of them to come to Seattle, you couldn't have written a better script. Absolutely brilliant. And I'm glad the Mariners actually got the move to happen. And we didn't give up anybody good in the farm, except for Tyler Locklear, and we can live with that. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kramer to Naylor. Kramer, 8-8 record with a 4.35 ERA. So 1 to 3 runs within the first 6 innings should be doable. Kramer on the mound, Naylor in the box. I got you. 1-2 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Naylor. Top of the 4th inning, 1-0 Seattle lead. I'm glad that Judge, is back and hitting home runs again. It's good for baseball. It's good for baseball when Shohei Ohtani plays well. It's good for baseball when Judge hits homers. It's good for baseball when Big Dumper is doing it. It's good for baseball when Schwarber is doing it. It's good for baseball when Pete Crow Armstrong is showing out for the Cubs. We're in kind of a new age where you're starting to see some, people that haven't really been able to get the same type of recognition, as Judge and Ohtani, and then kind of being in that similar category. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes here in the top of the 4th with a runner at first and no outs. 1-0 Seattle lead with an RBI single by Naylor in the first, bringing home Randy Arozarena. And, obviously I'm a little partial to Judge as well. I've gone to like 9-10 Mariner games, and I've already gotten 3 baseballs. My best friend Justin has been to like 50 to 100 games between the Dodgers and Mariners and has never gotten a ball. So for me to be able to get a Kike Hernandez ball, a Julio Rodriguez rookie foul ball, and an Aaron Judge ball in the year that he hit the 62 home runs, I ended up getting a Judge ball that year as well. So, it's always, fun to be able to see great players do great things. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. Count still is 2 balls, 2 strikes from Kramer to Naylor. And especially when Judge, when he's all said and done, and you compare him to every other player besides pretty much Ohtani, and if you're looking at his numbers compared to like Pujols and all the other Hall of Famers that have already retired, he might end up going down, as the best player in this generation, out of everyone besides Ohtani. Like those are going to be like the main two. And obviously if Cal can be recognized as the best catcher in this generation, if he can continue the greatness in his career, you're definitely getting, some players that, are once in a generation. And it's nice to be able to see. And are they reviewing this tag on Julio at first? They can't get guys. Are they reviewing it? I think they're good. 2-2 pitch. High and away. And Julio is caught stealing. Wow. He should have probably got caught stealing at first. And then he ends up trying to be overly aggressive there. And again, we're one of the most aggressive teams on base paths. And, as long as it's not happening on the regular, but definitely a good throw by Adley Rutschman, a very similar throw that Cal Raleigh would have put on with that smoke. And then you got Gunnar Henderson with the beautiful tag there. And I think they're going to try to review it, but kind of depends on where they actually show the tag, but it looks like he's out. 2 away. Got to be better on the base paths. And next up, Naylor popped up and flied out to right. And that is 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a K, Eugenio Suarez. Good vibes only. First pitch fouled off, low and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, cutter, low and away, 85 miles an hour by Kramer. 1 ball and 1 strike to Eugenio Suarez. 1-1 pitch, splitter, low and away, 81 miles an hour, 2 balls and 1 strike from Kramer to Gino. Two-one pitch, and Suarez flies out to center, and that is out number 3. Go to the bottom of the 4th inning. Seattle up still 1-0. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Next up, second baseman Jackson Holliday, 0 for 1. Batting second, 0 for 1, third baseman Jordan Westberg. And batting third, 0 for 1, shortstop Gunnar Henderson. Trident's up, let's go M's. And again, with Gino, he's going to strike out a lot. He's not going to be as consistent as Naylor. He's going to be a guy that every once in a while will hit you with a big single or double or a big RBI late in the game. He'll homer once in a while, to help you get that 2-run blast or 3-run blast, but he's not going to be as consistent on the daily, as Naylor or Julio or Cal. He's going to be kind of more like in that Randy Polo range, or maybe even lower, maybe like in the Polo Dom range, and maybe even JP being a little bit more productive day in and day out. So he's going to be kind of on the bottom third as far as like daily productivity. But when Gino ends up making a big play, when he finally does, it will be something that you'll notice. Could be a 3-run homer to help us win. Could be a big RBI single late in the game in the 8th inning. It's just not going to be, those singles and doubles on a consistent basis that move guys over or get him on base. That's just not really the type of hitter that he is. But again, we'll see if his swing evolves, and we'll also see if he gets a little bit better on the road than he was at home. Definitely at T-Mobile, it's one of the hardest parks to hit at. But again, not having the greatest luck so far. And it also depends on the pitching. When you go against good pitching, it doesn't really matter, what's going on. If the pitching is elite, sometimes that's going to be a factor as well, no matter how good of a hitter you think you are. First pitch from Kirby to Holiday, takes a strike looking low in the zone, 0-1 count. Yeah, I hope he pulls out of the slump as well. But, the thing that is amazing is that we're on a 7-game win streak with literally barely any production from him. So it shows you how good the team really is with starting pitching, 1 through 9 hitting, the bench hitters, as well as the bullpen. That we can have a player that, has got like the 4th, 5th, 6th most home runs in MLB, at one point or another throughout the season. He's been in like the top 6 in homers. And even though he hasn't been that productive lately, we're still winning without him really doing a whole lot at the moment. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and Kirby with a punch out. There we go. Down goes Jackson Holiday. Nice job by George Kirby. Bring that electricity, baby. And that is 1 away. Nice job, George. Next up, 0 for 1, third baseman Jordan Westberg. First pitch from Kirby to Westberg, low and away, 1-0 count. Let him know. And where are we at on the likes? Are we getting pretty close to a hundo? Like, sub, donate, comment, share. Haven't smashed that like button yet? Please do. 1-0 pitch. And Westberg flies out to right, almost back to the warning track, and that is 2 away. Kirby very efficient so far, which we like to see. Down goes Westberg, 2 outs. Next up for the O's, shortstop Gunnar Henderson. .78, there we go. 22 more to go to hit the goal. We should be able to get that here in the next couple innings. Good job all day. First pitch from Kirby to Henderson, high and away, 1-0 count. .10 pitch, knuckle curve, low and at the knees. 2 balls and no strikes from Kirby to Gunnar Henderson. And we gained 6 more subs. Appreciate you. Nine subs gained on this stream already. 21,411. 2-0 pitch, in play, and Gunnar with a double to right. Nice hustle there by Gunnar Henderson. With a team with hitters like Gunnar and Adley Rutschman, you know at some point or another they'll get hot. They don't have Anthony Santander, so we don't have to worry about him anymore. But he is on the Blue Jays, and we'll be meeting up with him, obviously, in the future. Nice sliding head first into second by Gunnar. Next up is catcher Adley Rutschman. First pitch from Kirby to Rutschman. Takes a ball right down the middle, which should have been probably called a strike. 1-0 count. So again, right now we're probably at 5 missed calls for the Mariners and maybe 2 for the O's. So umping hasn't really been too good so far, but again, I've seen worse. But again, quite a few pitches that should have been, strikes for the Mariners for Kirby have been called ball. And, we've had a few, walks that have turned into eventual walks, but not at the moment that it should have been. So hopefully the ump will be a little bit cleaner moving forward, but we'll see. 1-0 pitch, slider, low and away. Should be another strike called ball. 2 balls and no strikes should be 0-2, but now is 2-0. Come on. Can we get Kirby some fucking calls? It's like, why can't we get calls when we're on the road? I mean, call it right down the middle. Come on now. If you're going to give those, calls for Kramer, you can give it to Kirby too. 2-0 pitch, takes a strike looking on the line. 2 balls and 1 strike from Kirby to Rushman. 2-1 pitch, fouled off high and away. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Rushman. Bottom of the 4th inning, 1-0 Mariners with an RBI single by Josh Naylor, bringing Randy home in the first. Still thinking we're going to get a couple home runs. We might not get them against Kramer, but we could possibly get one with Kramer and one after Kramer, or maybe a couple after Kramer. But 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits will still be the magic number for the M's. 2-2 pitch, high and inside. Count now is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes from Kirby to Rushman. All right, Mike says we're at 80. There we go. 20 more to go. And it doesn't have to be just all day helping out with the likes. Some of you regulars can help out with that as well, to try to get some of these other individuals that are watching across the globe to take the time to just hit that like button, which takes literally 1 second. Bottom of the 4th inning, 1-0 M's. 3-2 pitch, fouled off high and away. Count still is full. 3 balls, 2 strikes, runner at second with 2 outs. Kirby on the mound, Rushman in the box. And we have Gunnar Henderson at second base. Three-two pitch, and got him. And a nice punch out there by Kirby. There we go. And again, they have not been giving Kirby, the proper calls in the zone, but he's still fighting through it. He hasn't given up a run. And again, his punch outs now are at 3. He probably should be closer to like 4 or 5 at this point. But again, 4 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks. And he's one of the best in MLB of not walking, batters. 3 Ks, which is a little low, but again, he hasn't really been getting the calls from the umps today. 53 strikes, or 53 pitches, 31 strikes. And he's got his ERA under 4, 3.84. And then let's take a look at Kramer. 4 innings pitched, 3 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 2 Ks, 58 pitches, 36 strikes with a 4.29 ERA. 1-0 Mariners. And I know when a lot of people see, bets like that, or like, oh, George Kirby, 4 Ks, and they're, hopping on that very quickly, thinking, oh, that's easy. I've seen Kirby get 10 to 14. But again, it all depends on the ump, if we're at home or on the road, and obviously how Kirby is feeling that particular day, and there's going to be some games that our starting pitching will get 10 to 14 Ks, and there's going to be others where they're going to get, 3 or 4, and that's it until they get pulled, or maybe even less if they have a bad outing. So, but 1 more K to get to 4, and again, we're going to be going here in the top of the 5th, and he should be able to pitch a few more innings. And, I still think 4 to 7 is going to be that perfect number, which I mentioned at the beginning of the broadcast. All right, let's see who's up next here for the M's. Here in the top of the 5th, let's see if we can add on a little bit more. Leading off for the M's, 1 for 1, DHing Jorge Polanco. Overdue for a home run or a big play? Absolutely. Batting second, right fielder Dominic Canzone. We're due for a Dom bomb. Could we get it here today? I hope so. And batting third, shortstop, ice water in his veins, J.P. Crawford. Let's go, J.P. First pitch from Kramer to Polo, takes a strike looking low and away. 0-1 count. And it's crazy because if you're, watching on MLB.com or ESPN.com or watching the Oriole broadcast, Mariner broadcast, like the same spot where Kramer is pitching and getting strikes is the exact same spot Kirby is pitching and getting balls. So I don't understand why he's being so one-sided. It's not like it's, 6 inches off or a couple feet off. It's literally the same spot, and one guy's getting the call and the other guy's not. 0-1 pitch in play, and Polo grounds out to third, throw to first, and that is 1 away. Next up for the Mariners, 0-for-1 right fielder Dominic Canzone. Dean Kramer on the mound, 8-8 record with a 4.35 ERA, and Dominic Canzone in the box. First pitch to Dom, in play, and he gets a single, baby. There we go. And again, sometimes you just need to give words of encouragement to the guys that have been struggling. Gino, Polo, Dom, JP, Cole Young, and not really struggling, but just maybe not being as hot as they were maybe a few weeks before. And it's nice to be able to see Polo get a single. Dom has got one. Now we just need JP and Cole Young to do the same. And maybe we can get a rally here, and this might be the inning where we explode. First pitch from Kramer to JP. Takes a strike looking high and away. 0-1 count. Let's go, JP. Bring that swagger. Top of the fifth inning with a runner at first, Dominic Canzone. Kramer on the mound, JP in the box. Let's go, JP. JP is overdue for a home run as well, and obviously a guy that typically is a 1 in 8 or a 9 singles hitter, but he does have the power to be able to homer once in a while. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Crawford. 1-1 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away in a pitch that should have been called ball but called strike. I don't know how many bad calls that we're getting now. That's like at least 6 now going against the Mariners, either going against Kirby or going against the hitters in the box. And at least we still got a 1-0 lead, but again, I would like to see this be a little bit more 50-50. Right now it feels like it's 80-20 favoring the O's, even though we have a 1-0 lead. One-two pitch, foul ball right down the middle by J.P. Crawford. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 1 out. Top of the fifth inning, 1-0 Mariners. No spamming the chat, Joshua. You do it again, you're going to be kicked. Last warning. No spamming the chat. And double play, throw to first. And JP hits into a double play for the second time today. Brutal. And Jackson Holiday with some great defense there. And just when we feel like we might be able to get a rally started, and it's not necessarily JP's fault, just really good defense there by the O's. And anytime you can't get it past the infield, sometimes things like that will happen. But at least we got the 1-0 lead, but we're going to need more. All right, let's see who's up next here for the Baltimore Orioles here in the bottom of the fifth. Next up for the O's, 0-for-1 in the 5-hole, DHing Ryan Mountcastle. Batting second, first baseman, 0-for-1 with a K, Kobe Mayo. And batting third, right fielder in the 7-hole, 0-for-1, Ryan Noda. And they didn't really have very many photos of Noda or Greg Allen, who just got called up. So I had to do the best with what was available. But this is not normally to the standard of photos that I would prefer. But again, really the only thing that is available, unless they take some photos of the game today. And then we might have access to some better ones for Noda and Allen tomorrow if they're in the lineup. Try dance up. Let's go, M's. Yeah, I mean, getting LASIK, getting contacts, and maybe having an age restriction on the umps in baseball. Like there's a certain age where, there's a cutoff point where people have to retire, and whatnot. Maybe it would be better that way. But, I mean, umping is one of the hardest things to do. There's no doubt about that. But, it feels like baseball umps are the worst in the four major sports. NFL, college football reffing is tough. Basketball reffing, you should be able to get that job done, and you can definitely tell if someone's got a bet on the game or not and whatnot. There's been some collusion and some cheating and shit that's gone on in the past, and obviously being an NHL ref, you have to be in incredible shape to be a ref, obviously in some of these other sports, running up and down the court, going up and down on the ice, but again, for something that's a little bit more stationary for the most part with MLB, it's more of an eye thing rather than a physical thing. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Mountcastle. Chris with a $5, appreciate you and your support. Stacks, Racks with the little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang, appreciate you. Go M's. Let me know if there's anything you want to see photo-wise, and I got you. 0-2 pitch, in play, and Mountcastle grounds out to first, and tap on the bag, and that is 1 away. Nice job by Josh Naylor. Next up is first baseman in the 6-hole, Kobe Mayo. But I don't think people realize how good Naylor would be defensively at first base, as well as being a bag swiper. I don't think that we anticipated him being so good at stealing bags. Like right now, I mean, he's better than Julio and some of the others as of late. And, it's crazy to think a guy that almost never steals bags when he was on the Guardians and the Diamondbacks. And, he's definitely, making that a key point of his, game. And it's definitely helping us win. 0-1 pitch, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kirby to Mayo. Gained another sub. 10 subs gained so far in the stream. 88 to go to hit 21,500. Shout out to the new 10 subs so far today. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, high and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Mayo. There we go. We're almost there. We're going to be the 13 that are going to get us there. And then once we hit 100, it'll be easy breezy at that point. We'll go from 1 to 125 and 125 to 150. So, and then obviously if the game is still pretty close late, we'll get a spike in viewership, and then we might be able to hit even something higher. So, bottom of the 5th inning, 1-0 Mariners. RBI single by Josh Naylor in the first, scoring Randy Arozarena, and that's pretty much it. It's been a pitcher's duel. Umping has been favored to the Orioles so far, and that's kind of been a thing that's happened for us quite some time now. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and that is punch out number 4 by George Kirby. There you go. I know we had a person that had a parlay or a bet with Kirby getting at least 4 Ks or more, and he just got the 4th K. And at the beginning of the stream, I predicted 4 to 7. So it looks like we're right in that wheelhouse for George Kirby. Next up, for the O's, 0 for 1, right fielder Ryan Noda. David with a $5. Appreciate you, David. Stacks, Racks, and a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you, David. David and Chris have been showing up and showing out and showing support. And remember, when you end up donating, to a stream, you're not just donating, the dollars. You're donating to a dream. And that's really what it comes down to. Liking the channel is important. Subbing to the channel is important. Commenting, sharing the stream. But the ultimate honor that you can do to any streamer is to donate, because you're ending really supporting that person's dream moving forward. and I appreciate that very, very much. 0-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Noda. And if Kirby can get maybe a knuckle curve in the next couple pitches, he might have strikeout number 5 for George. And we're at 88 to go. 12 on the Dono goal so far. 88 to go. Let's get it, baby. 1-2 pitch, fouled off, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Noda. Give you that knuckle curve, baby. And again, normally he's going to throw that once per at bat, but sometimes he'll throw it, 3 pitches in a row, depending on, who's at bat and at one point of the game that we're in. But again, definitely mixes up the sinker, slider, 4-seam, as well as that knuckle curve. And then you'll see slurve balls, obviously from some pitchers in the last couple years as well. Slider curve combo. 1-2 pitch, low and up and ease. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Noda. Still hasn't thrown that knuckle curve. I'm waiting on it, though. Could be that strike 3 pitch. Gained another sub. That's 11. Shout out to the 11 new subs that we've gained so far. And Noda flies out. Unfortunately, we weren't able to get the punch out, but we do get the out. Julio Rodriguez is there. No fly zone. And that is out number 3. End of the 5th inning, 1-0 Mariners. 4 hits for the Mariners, 2 by the O's, 1 error apiece. And one thing is for sure, he may, have some issues in the box at the beginning of the year. He may get thrown out from time to time stealing bags, or, maybe hanging a little bit too, hard on one side rather than the other, when he's leaning at first or at second. But, no one can ever complain about the defense that Julio is going to give you on the daily at center field. Still one of the best defensive center fielders in the game. I mean, he may not be Ken Griffey Jr., but again, Julio is special. End of the 5th, 1-0 Seattle. Let's see if we can end up extending our lead. Could this be the inning that we get there? It kind of feels like we have a chance. Next up, 0-for-1 with a K, second baseman Cole Young. If Cole can get on with a single, we're in business, baby. Batting second, 1-for-2 with a run, left fielder Randy Arozarena, who is hot with a bunch of singles against the Rays in the previous series where we swept them, but he didn't get a home run against his former team. Maybe we could get some magic here today. And batting third, 0-for-2, big dumper catcher Cal Raleigh, sitting at 45 home runs. The record is 48, and hopefully we'll be able to get home run number 46 here today. Trident's up. Let's go M's. Marla with a tour. Appreciate you. Every dollar counts. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Thank you so much. And it's nice to be able to see people donating to the channel for the very first time. And I'm going to keep grinding it out. Thank you so much. 1-0 pitch in play. And Young flies out to left. 1 away. Next up, 1-for-2 with a run, left fielder Randy Arozarena. And every dollar counts, even though maybe some people will feel like, oh, if I don't hit the like button, it doesn't matter. Or, if I donate $1, does it really matter? Or $2? Yeah, everything adds up, and one leads to another, which leads to another in a snowball effect, regardless if it ends up being 99 cents or $1 for the, lowest amount of the donation that they allow you, or we go to our highest, which was $1,300 for one single donation. So, it doesn't really matter if it ends up being a lower number or an extremely high number. Everything matters. And I really appreciate everyone that is supporting the channel. First pitch from Kramer to Randy Arozarena. Low and away with the cutter, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch. Takes a strike swinging low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike to Randy Arozarena. And then we gained a few more subs. 2 more right after that. 13 so far. 1-1 pitch. Big swing and a miss. High and inside. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kramer to Randy. Yeah, I mean, but that's just who we are. We're like the number one, team in stealing bags, since the All-Star break. Naylor's been killing it. And, there's going to be times where, Randy and Julio are going to get thrown out and they're going to end up stealing bags as well. It's just kind of the team that we are. And down goes Randy on strikes. Big swing and a miss. 2 away. And it's unfortunate, when you have guys that you feel that should steal bags and not really get caught, like Randy and Julio. And then you get a guy that's kind of a bigger boy, not as big as Rowdy Tellez, but, a little bit thicker. And he's able to, pretty much be safe every single time. So sometimes, it has to do with baseball IQ, knowing what pitch and when to go based on the motion of the pitcher. And, we're always going to be an aggressive team. We don't want to, just be one of those teams that, never, attempts to steal. We definitely don't play small ball enough. It's not like we're bunting every game, which is one aspect of the Mariners that I hope that we would add on, because it could definitely be the difference. If we end up bunting a couple times a game and, especially if someone's in a slump, it's like someone shooting a bunch of threes and going 0 for 15, and then they make a couple layups to get their confidence back. That's kind of what a bunt will do, for the team. And most defenses don't know how to defend a bunt, and it ends up being a wild throw to first or a bobbled attempt to grab the baseball barehanded by a player. And Raleigh pops up, and that is out number 3. Way too fast an inning for the Mariners there. And we're still stuck at this 1-0 score, but at some point, pitchers will be out, and hopefully in the next few innings here, and hopefully we'll be able to get some home runs and some RBIs. Let's take a look at the stats of the pitchers here at this point. Let's take a look at Dean Kramer. So Kramer, 5 innings pitched, 6 innings pitched. 4 hits, 1 earned run, 1 walk, 3 Ks, 75 pitches, 49 strikes, 4.23 ERA. So he'll obviously, go 1 more inning, you would assume, unless they want to just take him out. But I don't know. He's doing good enough, really, to not be taken out. And then with George is 5 innings pitched, 2 hits, no earned runs, no walks, 4 Ks. And then 66 pitches, 41 strikes with a 3.80 ERA. So really, both of these guys could go 7 innings. And, based off their pitch count being pretty relatively low, but we'll see what strategy that they go. Maybe the Orioles will make a mistake like some of the other teams have when they played us, like the Rays, or if they would have went with Rasmussen, for 8 innings, they probably would have won when they were up 2-0. But we had late hits by J.P. Cole and then that 3-run blast by Cal. But that probably wouldn't have happened if they would have just stuck with their star pitcher and had him go 8 innings. Like, when you end up pulling a guy with only 60 or 70 pitches and you're up 2-0 and you're dominating, and I know that they want to make sure they're protecting the arms, but that particular circumstance costs them the game. And again, if you do that too much, then obviously it's going to cost you long term. And not only that, short term. 2 more subs gained. We gained 15 here in the stream so far. Appreciate you. 83 to go to get to 21,500. 15 subs gained, and we're on our pace for 20 or 25. Let's go. Bottom of the 6th, 1-0, Mariner lead. Pitchers duel so far. First pitch for George Kirby to Dylan Carlson. Low and at the knees with the slider. 1-0 count. One 0 pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away, which should have been called ball, but called strike. Man, this ump is all over the place with his strike zone. I mean, he's calling stuff that is a strike, which is like a foot off the plate. But 1-1 pitch in play, and Carlson lines out to right. 1 away. Next up for the O's, center fielder Greg Allen, 0 for 1. First pitch from Kirby to Allen, takes a strike looking low and away, 0-1 count. Oh, 1 pitch, knuckle curve, big swing and a miss. No balls and 2 strikes from Kirby to Allen. Let's go, baby. 0-2 pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Allen. Bottom of the 6th inning, 1-0 Mariners. We got a heat wave here in Oregon. This will be our 4th consecutive day with about 100-degree temperatures, so I cannot wait for it to start cooling down. But for the next 7 days, it'll be 80 or lower, and we're going to get rain this weekend, so I can't wait for that. 1-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and that's punch out number 5 for George Kirby. There we go, baby. I like that. 2 away. Way to bring that electricity, George. 5 Ks for Kirby. Next up, 0 for 2 with a K, second baseman Jackson Holliday. First pitch from Kirby to Holliday. High and away with a sinker, 96 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One 0 pitch, takes a strike looking high and away, slider on the line, 1 ball and 1 strike to Jackson Holliday. Bottom of the 6th, pitcher's duel between Kirby. 1-1 pitch, knuckle curve, and Holliday singles to left. Nice hit there by Jackson Holliday. But a pitcher's duel between Kramer and Kirby. And eventually, once these 2 guys go out, the game should open up. Next up is third baseman, 0 for 2, Jordan Westberg. I mean, I've lived all over in Oregon, obviously grew up around, the Hood River, the Dalles area. I went for my first, maybe 4 or 5 years of my life. And then, lived in Beaverton and the burbs a little bit. And I've lived in, Tualatin, Wilsonville, in that general area. And we got quite a few people, that are from the Oregon, Washington area. It kind of depends on, if you lived there when you were younger or if you moved away recently and whatnot. But, regardless if you're on the coast, you're on the beach, coast area, or, maybe closer into the burbs or even farther east. The heat wave has been pretty massive in Oregon and Washington the last few days. 0-2 pitch, high and inside, 1 ball and 2 strikes from Kirby to Westberg. Albany, nice. Bottom of the 6th, 1-0 Seattle lead. Kirby on the mound, Westberg in the box. 1-2 pitch, low and away. Missing the strike zone by a few feet there by Kirby. Slider missing. 2 balls, 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Mariners hanging on to a 1-0 lead. Moses Lake, nice. 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss. There we go. George Kirby with another punch out. And it started off kind of slow where you didn't even know if George was even going to get to 4. But 4 to 7 was kind of what I was thinking that he was going to get. And right now, right into that wheelhouse, that was punch out number 6. End of the 6th inning, 1-0 Seattle. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 1 with a base on ball. Center fielder Julio Rodriguez. We could definitely use a solo dinger to give us that 2-0 lead, or possibly just a single to get on base. Batting second, 1 for 2 with an RBI. That gave us the 1-0 lead, scoring Randy from second in the first inning, Josh Naylor. And batting third, 0 for 2 with a K. Third baseman, good vibes only, Eugenio Suarez. In a little bit of a slump since he's come, here to the Mariners. But again, at some point, we know that he will heat up. And even with his struggles in the box, we're on a 7-game win streak. So again, not everyone is going to be hot at the same time. I mean, I remember even just a couple years ago, we would have like one guy out of 9 that would be playing well, and again, to go from batting 180 to 220 as a team to 240 to 255 as a team, it's a night and day difference. The pitching has definitely, gone backwards, but the hitting has improved dramatically. Being one of the worst hitting teams in baseball the last few years to being one of the best, it definitely has made a difference. Now we just need the starting pitching to kind of get back to where it was, and hopefully it will as we hit the postseason. End of the 6th inning, 1-0 M's, and let's see if they're going to move Kramer. Kramer's at 75 pitches, and George Kirby is only at 82. So both could obviously go one more inning, and I would assume that's what we're going to get. I don't think that we're going to see both of them in the 8th, but we'll see how these managers decide. Because at this point, the pitchers that are in the game are probably going to be better than the guys in the pen, depending on who they bring in. I mean, unless we bring in like Brash or Bizzardo and they're lights out, then it could be similar to what Kirby's doing. But if they bring in a guy like Carlos Vargas, we could see that 1-0 lead disappear pretty fast. First pitch from Kramer to Julio, fouls it off, high and inside, 0-1 count. One pitch, low and at the knees. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Julio. Well, considering we're the only team, that's never been to a World Series, and I've been following this team since like 85, since I was, around 3. So again, I've been watching this team and following this team, for roughly 40 years. We've only had like 4 good years out of 40, but it feels like from 2022 to 2042, when Cal hit that walk-off against the Athletics, that was the first year of kind of the new era Mariners. And again, we missed the playoffs by, a game or so the last couple years, but this 2025 team is the best team we've had since 2001. The team that we have now is much better than the 2022 team that made the playoffs and beat the Blue Jays. So, again, it feels like, we're going in a direction where we could be like, maybe like a team like the Dodgers at one point where consistently maybe we can make the playoffs. And hopefully that'll be something that we can do. But I think any Mariner fan would be excited if we can, obviously make the World Series and win. But, if we end up making the World Series and, for the first time and lose, it's hard to be able to win it the very first time you go. So 2-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Julio on strikes, 1 away. But again, it's one of my dreams to be able to see the Mariners win a World Series before I'm gone. So, and I plan on doing this for the rest of my life. So I'm hoping that I'll be able to have that joy, at least once in my life. And, who knows, if the Mariners end up winning 1 World Series, it could lead to another World Series a few years after that. It's not going to probably be one of those things where they go back to back, but maybe go 1 year and then they build the team up and, try to figure it out. And then maybe 2-3 years after that, if you're still in your prime and you still have the good players, you might be able to make another trip. That's typically how it works when you're, maybe a small market team, or you make it once and you never make it back again for a long period of time. But this Mariner team is built a little bit different. First pitch, high and away from Kramer to Naylor, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, fouled off right down the middle by Naylor. 1 ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Naylor. Top of the 7th, 1-0 Mariner lead. 1-1 pitch, and that is a automatic ball with a pitch timer violation by Kramer. 2 balls and 1 strike to Josh Naylor. There could be some truth to this, Tom. That maybe, the hand is bothering him more than he wants to let on, and maybe the hand is a little, injured, and he's just trying to fight through it. Now, he has hit a home run, obviously since coming over, in the deal, but obviously has been probably the worst hitter out of all our hitters 1 through 9, lately. But again, to be on a 7-game win streak with one of the best, home run hitters in baseball, kind of in a slump, shows you how deep we really are, with this team. We were already a good team without Naylor and Gino. And again, even though Gino hasn't got it going yet, I do believe at some point he will be able to turn it on. 2-2 pitch. Outside. Count now is 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Naylor. Come on, Josh. Three-two pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Naylor, 2 away. Next up is Eugenio Suarez. Good vibes only. So even if he struggles in the box, as long as he's making plays on defense and he's got a positive attitude for the players that are around him, like George Kirby today, at some point he will come up. It's just a matter of time. But again, he still has been in a little bit of a slump. First pitch, and Suarez flies out to center, and that is out number 3. Middle of the 7th inning goes to the end of the 7th inning. And let's see what we have here with the Baltimore Orioles in the bottom of the 7th. 1-0 Seattle. Yeah, Riz is great. And again, Goldie has got a few days off with a family vacation and whatnot, but Aaron Goldsmith is great, and Riz is obviously great on the radio. I know some people didn't really like Dave Sims. Some people have certain favorites, compared to others. Everyone's got their own, type of style on how they end up calling games and whatnot. Some people are better storytellers than others. Some are, have a little bit better voices, for the sport than others and whatnot. But yeah, I would agree with that. I do like Riz, but I think Goldie for the Mariners, the play-by-play, he's one of the best in MLB. And you got to think he's not like a grandpa like a lot of these other guys that you see that are in their 50s, 60s, 70s. It's pretty rare to see someone in their 30s or 40s like myself, on TV doing a great job like Goldie does. And, he's got a great voice, great energy, and it's real. It's authentic. It's not forced. And sometimes when you listen to people call games, you can tell they're fake. They're trying to over-exaggerate the big hits and home runs and, for like clickbait, and just you can definitely tell the people that love the game and it comes out authentic and the ones that are being fake that are forcing it. Bottom of the 7th inning, 1-0 Mariners. Let's see who's up next here for the O's. Next up for the O's, 1 for 2, 3-hole hitter, shortstop Gunnar Henderson. Batting second, 0 for 2 with a K, catcher from the Oregon State Beavers, Adley Rushman. And batting third, 0 for 2, DHing in the 5-hole, Ryan Mountcastle. Trident's up, let's go M's. And they still got Kirby out there. He's only had 82 pitches, so good decision to have him go at least one more inning. And I would assume this will be the last inning for George Kirby. All right, there we go. We hit 100 likes. Good job all day. Let's get to 125. You're on it. And first pitch to Henderson. Grounds out. Throw to first. And that is 1 away. 5 Dalahala. So why is it that the Cubs get more love when they won and broke the 100-year World Series win streak than the Mariners in a push for the first time? That's easy. Is because the Cubs are more loved across the globe. Back in the day with Harry Carey, they were on WGN. So again, if you didn't have, the channel on cable, for your favorite team as Rushman pops up to the shortstop JP, and that is 2 away. So not only did you get people in Oregon, Washington, California on the West Coast, and all of the, the states in the Midwest, but there was people in the East, Northeast, and the Southeast, in the South. WGN was everywhere, right? So there's going to be a lot of Braves, for TNT on TBS, and a lot of WGN for the Cubs. And, there's a lot of those fans that are still fans, even though you don't really see the broadcast on those channels anymore. But for a long period of time, through TBS and WGN, a lot of Braves fans, a lot of Cubs fans. Cubs got great history. They have great colors with their uniforms. And they're just kind of one of those teams that's easy to root for. Regardless of, if you're in the division and you're like a Cardinal fan or a Brewer fan, yeah, you might not like them and you might hate them. But I think the overall consensus that most people enjoy watching the Cubs, regardless, unless they're playing your favorite team, right? And again, they got a stud in Pete Crow Armstrong, who's fantastic. And, honestly, if I could have my choice of a Mariner World Series, I probably would do Mariners Cubs would be my favorite. But we know the Dodgers are going to be tough to beat. 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and down goes Ryan Mountcastle, and that is out number 3. A very quick inning there for George Kirby. Nice job. But I think that's the reason. Mariners, are a small market team, but again, I think that we're finally getting, more individuals that get eyeballs on our product because of Cal's record-breaking season, and obviously the addition of Naylor and Gino. But overall, we're not going to be as beloved as maybe the Cubs or some other teams, and obviously we know the Yankees and Dodgers are going to be loved and hated because they're so consistently good and they spend all that money and get all those great players. It's hard to be popular and loved when you're a small market team. We're more like the Orioles, where it might take us a while to get good, but once we get good, hopefully it'll be more than just a year like it was for the Orioles last year. We do have the number 1 farm and whatnot as well, but I think if you really ask most MLB fans, the Cubs might be the most likable team in baseball, if we're really being honest. Like, regardless if you're a National League fan or an American League fan, like if you just ask, what's one team that you could actually watch? You may not necessarily root for them, but you could actually watch them and enjoy it. And I watched them back when they had Grace and Sandberg and Dawson, and obviously seeing what PCA is doing now, Pete Crow Armstrong, it's pretty exciting. It's going to be a tough test. Brewers are great this year. Dodgers and Padres are still doing their thing. Mets and Phillies. So the National League is stacked, but we'll see where it goes. But if Cal wins MVP and the Mariners make the ALDS, ALCS World Series, again, there will be some bandwagon fans that'll be hopping on the Cal bandwagon, and not only that, hopping on the Mariner bandwagon. And then obviously the better we do, and make the playoffs, consistently, we're going to get more fans to appreciate us. That is big facts. $5 holla, I appreciate you. Good question there. Stacks, Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. First pitch from Kramer to Polo. Takes a strike looking high and away here in the top of the 8th, 0-1 count. And there's different levels of fandom. Again, there's people that are bandwagon fans, fair weather fans, only watch when the team is winning. 0-1 pitch in play, and Polo flies out to right, 1 away. And there's also Fanatics, which, are going to be people like myself and some of y'all where, you're watching pretty much every game or as many games as you possibly can. And if you're watching every game, there's going to be different levels to it, watching every game beginning to end, even when we're down 10-0 in the third. Obviously this is my full-time job, so I don't have the ability to walk away and, turn the game off and do errands or, be mad with frustration. I got to be able to see the bright spot when we're down 10-0 in the third and try to be able to have that rally to come back. But it definitely teaches you on the players that, fight through adversity, even when things are really tough. And you can tell based on their body language and their attitude when things are tough, do they keep trying? And not everyone is going to be on the same level in that respect. First pitch from Kramer to Canzone. Takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. 0-1 pitch, low and away. Ball and 1 strike from Kramer to Canzone. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away with the splitter, 81 miles an hour. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 1 out. Top of the 8th inning, 1-0 Mariner lead with a RBI single by Josh Naylor, scoring Randy Arozarena in the first inning. It's been a pitcher's duel between Kramer and Kirby. And again, at some point, you would feel that this game will open up. One-two pitch, in play, and ground out to the shortstop. And that is 2 away. Next up for the Mariners, 0 for 2, shortstop J.P. Crawford. And I think for me, for people, that aren't maybe as familiar, with other announcers, for people that, may or may not like Riz or may not like Goldie as much, if you take a chance and you end up just browsing, through other baseball games and listen to other announcers, I think it'll give you more of an appreciation of what we have in Seattle. And again, even if Goldie may not be your favorite, he's a lot better than most of the people on other teams. And again, I've got a chance to listen to pretty much every broadcast, because normally when I call games, I got ESPN, MLB.com up, but a lot of times I'll have, 2 streams up. I'll have home and away. So I'll get a chance to kind of listen to both to see if they actually know what they're talking about, and if they, have good cadence and they have a good voice and they know baseball, or if they don't. And, some people have great, announced teams, and others it's pretty nasty, 1-1 pitch, low and away. 2 balls, 1 strike from Kramer to Crawford. 2-1 pitch, makes a strike looking right down the middle. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Crawford. I mean, even with Sims, I know some people didn't like him, and he's part of the radio broadcast for the Yankees now. And he went home, had some relationships with, obviously New York. So for him to go there, and I know some people didn't really like him that much either, but he even was better than most of the, other announcers that were out there. He may not be top tier, but he definitely wasn't the worst. There was, he's quite a bit better than most, but there are definitely people that were better than Sims. I would agree to that. I think Riz and Goldie are much better than Sims. So 2-2 pitch, high and away. Count now is full. 3 balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Crawford. And JP with a beautiful single to center. There we go, baby. Nice job on that 3-2 pitch. There we go, JP. Could this be the inning where we get something going? And you remember when we were down 2-0 to the Rays in game 1, we got hits by JP Crawford, Cole Young, Randy got out, and then we ended up getting that 3-run blast by Cal. But right now we got 2 outs. But we are one of the best 2-out teams, and we are one of the best in the 7th, 8th, and 9th inning in 2025. So no matter how bleak it looks, at this point, at least we got the 1-0 lead, and hopefully we can get a single by Cole to keep this inning going. Top of the 8th with a runner at first, 1-0 Mariners. Let's go, Cole. First pitch to Cole Young, big swing and a miss, 0-1 count. Come on, Cole. One pitch, fouled off, high and away. No balls and 2 strikes from Kramer to Young. Come on, Cole. Let's go, baby. Top of the 8th inning, 1-0 Mariner lead. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us get to 150 to 200 likes before the stream ends. And we're trying to get to 100 on the dono train. See how many subs we've gained today, almost 20. Where are we at right now? We've gained 17 subs so far. And 2 more since the last time I checked. 81 to go now to get to 21,500. And we've gained how many? 17 subs already. 3 more to get to 20. And we've been doing usually about 5 to 15 per day, but we have had streams that have hit 20, 30, and 50 subs in a single stream. So 0-2 pitch, big swing and a miss, and the inning ends for the Mariners there. Down goes Cole Young. Let's go to the bottom of the 8th inning. Mariners hanging on to a slim 1-0 lead. And we typically don't win games when we don't homer. And we haven't homered in this game yet, but hopefully we'll end up getting a big homer at some point. But again, if we don't, even if we only win 1-0, it's not pretty, but we'll take it. 7-game win streak still intact, and we're going to try to go for 2 out of 3. But again, if we end up sweeping the O's, that would really help us going into the Mets series on the road next, which I'm very excited about. 17 likes to hit 125. So we got at least 100 people in the room that haven't done it yet. We can get a fraction of those. We should be able to hit somewhere between that 125 and 150 number before the game ends. Great job all day. And we got Bizzardo coming in now, which is a great move. And Bizzardo is the most improved player from the Mariners last year to this year. He was one of the worst guys in the pen with Taylor Saucedo and has really turned his career around. And again, Brash, normally is the one, Bizzardo 2, and even Spire used to be better than Bizzardo, but Bizzardo has been a little bit more consistent this season. And sometimes Bizzardo is even better than Brash, but again, we have seen Brash, Bizzardo, Spire, and Mooney all have meltdowns recently. But again, for the most part, those guys are electric, and hopefully we can get, those guys to play up to their potential. Because again, we have those other guys like Carlos Vargas that we don't really trust. Caleb Ferguson has pitched well, and he's also given up some big homers. So again, it's going to be kind of hit or miss with some of the other guys, but hopefully we don't have to see too many of the others, so that way we don't have to worry about losing the game late in a matchup. Let's see who's up next here for the O's. Next up in the 6 hole, 0 for 2 with 2 Ks, first baseman Kobe Mayo. Batting second, right fielder Ryan Noda. And battling third, left fielder, 8-hole hitter Dylan Carlson. First pitch from Bizzardo to Mayo. Low and away with a sinker, 1-0 count. Pitch. Takes a strike looking high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Mayo. Umping definitely could have been a little bit better. It's been probably 70-30 O's, but it hasn't really affected the game yet. But again, the game isn't over at this point. 1-1 pitch and popped up and flied out to right. And good defense there by the M's, 1 away. Next up for Edward Bizzardo, right fielder, 0 for 2, Ryan Noda. Oh, yeah. I miss a lot of the grandpa, guys, from back in the day. Niehaus was amazing. Harry Carey. You go back and you look at all of, like, the old school OGs. Vin Scully. They definitely were the best at storytelling, and they had that passion for the game. It's pretty rare to be able to see someone that's relatively young do a great job nowadays, especially in baseball. So if you see anybody in their 30s and 40s killing it, it really is special. 0-1 pitch in play, and Noda with a single right up the middle. Jordan in the building, what's good? We're just trying to hang on into this pitcher's duel. We got an RBI single by Naylor in the first and nothing since then, so we're just trying to hang on here. And again, normally we don't win games when we don't homer at least once, but hopefully we can get something here late. First pitch from Bizzardo to Carlson, high and away with a sinker, 1-0 count. Bizzardo on the mound, Carlson in the box. And we gained another sub, 18 subs gained in this stream alone. And now we only need 80 to get to 21,500. Great job, you guys. Shout out to all the new subs that have been supporting the channel. And it feels good to be able to get, 15, 20, 30, 40, 50 subs every day. And, we're definitely going in the right direction. 1-0 pitch, takes a strike looking, high and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Bizzardo to Carlson. Aaron is great. I don't think people really realize how great he is. There's so many people that are haters nowadays that can't give credit to other people when they actually do a good job at their job. And again, everyone's going to be picky and everyone's going to have their favorites. But, for me, listening to pretty much every announced team in baseball, home and away, when I'm calling these games, Aaron is one of the best in the game. And again, hopefully we end up keeping him for quite some time. I know he's got Cardinals ties. So down the road, if we ever decide to give up, on his deal with him, he'll end up going somewhere else for sure. But I don't think people realize how good he truly is compared to a lot of the others that are announcing games for other teams. 1-2 pitch, fouled off high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Carlson. And Goldie has a vacation with family, so that's why he's not calling games on route for the next week and a half or so. But he will be back, after that vacation time is up. 1-2 pitch, fouled off high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Bizzardo to Carlson. Bottom of the 8th with a runner at first and 1 out. 1-0 Mariner lead with an RBI single by Naylor in the first inning. Scoring Randy Arozarena, and we've been stuck there with a pitcher's duel, obviously, at this point. And that is 2 away. There we go. Good defense there by the M's. Down goes Carlson. And potentially the last batter here, center fielder Greg Allen, who I believe is still looking for his first hit with the team. I think he's 0 for 12 or 0 for 13 with the recent call-up. So he's definitely desperate to be able to help his team, but not ideal when you have someone in the 9-hole with that lack of experience. And we gained another sub. I feel that I'm one of the best at what I do. I put a lot of time and energy in what I do, and plus, I'm actually producing the show, on the fly while I'm doing live play-by-play in color, monitoring the chat, watching 5 different screens. I don't think the average person that does a baseball stream on YouTube does not do what I do. Usually you're staring at them the whole time when they call the game. There's a lot of behind-the-scenes things that are going on, that's for sure. And Bizzardo is exiting, and they're going to be bringing in Gabe Spire, and hopefully this will be the good Gabe here. Well, I'm not getting paid by the Mariners, if that's what you're asking. But they know who I am. I feel like anybody that has made a name for themselves, based on their streaming, usually the social media team and the team they know, so Valhalla, is a buddy of mine, and he does Dodgers, former military guy, and again, there's going to be a few people out there. There's, going to be a Yankee streamer. Valhalla does Dodgers, I do Mariners, but it's nowhere near the amount of people that stream NFL, and other things. Baseball is a lot harder to do, and that's probably why a lot of people stay away from it, because it is that hard. You have to really know what you're talking about, just like in anything that you do in basketball, baseball, football, or hockey. But it's a lot harder to do a broadcast in baseball than it is to do football or basketball, in my opinion. So, and we gained a few more subs after that. 4 more, and we've gained how many? 23 subs in this stream alone. Shout out to you guys. 75 now to go to hit 21,500, and obviously the goal is to go from 21,500 to 22 to 23 to 24 to 25, then 50, then 75. And then obviously my long-term goal is 100,000. Even if it takes me until my deathbed, I'm going to continue to grind, for the rest of my life. So, and I've been doing this a long time. This isn't my first rodeo. I've been doing this for 13 years. This is my 9th year on YouTube. Next year will be 14 years and 10 years on YouTube. So Jackson is coming in to pinch hit, and we got Gabe Spire on the mound. And I had a goal coming into every season to do 155 out of 162 regular season games. And if I'm going to miss a game a month, it's only going to be because of WWE, like pay-per-view or PLE, like WrestleMania or SummerSlam. Other than that, there won't be anything that will, replace it. But again, I do a little bit of everything. I do NFL, I do college football. Obviously, I do MLB, WWE, AEW, NASCAR Cup Series, Truck Series, Xfinity, NHL, NBA. So it's kind of like your one-stop shop. And there's a lot of streamers that stick to kind of like, one thing or maybe two things. But for us, we do everything. And we've even done UFC and boxing back in the day. So really, there isn't anything that we won't do. And Spire popped up, and Jackson, that is out number 3. And Gabe Spire does his job. Nice job there. Good call by Wilson by taking out Bizzardo and bringing in Gabe. All right, let's go to the top of the 9th inning and see if we can extend this lead to 2 rather than 1. And we got the batters to do it. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Next up for the Mariners, 1 for 3 with a run and a K. Randy Arozarena. Let's go, Randy. Batting second, 0 for 2. We're looking for that big home run. Home run number 46, big dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. And batting third, center fielder, Julio Rodriguez. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Agreed. It is hard, to do it. Again, some people will have duos, obviously Blue Jays today, is I don't know them personally or anything like that, but you got, 2, I assume, friends, that are doing Blue Jays games, and it looks like they're doing a pretty good job with their channel as well. And I feel like all of the people that have been recognized, for whatever they do, whether it be football or baseball, we kind of know of each other, even though we may not communicate with each other. But obviously, when people are doing like YouTube searches or, looking for baseball, there's not going to be like 100 different people to choose from. Usually you'll be lucky to find someone that's good that does your favorite team. But unfortunately, there's, only a few people that are really consistent with it. Blue Jays today, myself, Valhalla, and then you might have a Yankee streamer here and there, but really it just depends on, who you're rooting for or who you want to listen to. First pitch from Garcia to Arozarena, takes a strike looking high and away, 0-1 count. Gained 2 more subs. 0-1 pitch, high and away, 1 ball and 1 strike from Garcia to Arozarena. 1-1 pitch, big swing and a miss, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Garcia to Arozarena. But if you actually look at my profile on the channel, it'll go through all the things that I do. So that'll give you kind of a full breakdown of all the, different things that we do on the channel. 1-2 pitch, high and inside. 2 balls and 2 strikes to Randy Arozarena. And we gained 2 more subs. 25 subs gained on this stream alone. Appreciate that. 73 to go to be able to hit 21,500, and then we just gained 1 more. Appreciate that. 26 subs gained. You guys are great. 2-2 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. 2 balls and 2 strikes from Garcia to Arozarena. But I mean, I typically will do like Oregon Duck games, but I mean, I don't mind doing like Huskies or Cougs or Beavers, Pac-12 teams. I don't mind doing like Bama, Georgia, or Ohio State, Michigan, like really good matchups, Ohio State, Penn State. I'm very familiar with every single sport. I do a lot of reading and a lot of film study, so I really don't feel lost on anything that I do. But again, the preparation is key. You have to read a lot. You have to keep up with what's going on the daily, and you have to watch film. And if you don't, you're not going to be able to keep up. So 2-2 pitch, and Arozarena grounds out to third, throw to first, and that is one away. But, do college football. We do NFL, Monday night, Thursday night football, Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night, good matchups as well. And then once football season's over, a little bit of Blazers and good matchups, a little bit of Kraken, a little bit of NASCAR Cup Series as we're waiting for baseball. But primarily, it'll be NFL, college football. And then obviously when that season isn't going, it's Mariners. And then, WWE a little bit in between as well. First pitch from Garcia to Big Dumper. Takes a ball low and in the zone, 1-0 count. Garcia on the mound. Randy Arozarena was out, right? So we couldn't get anything there. We got Big Dumper, and then hopefully we can get something with Julio on deck. 1-0 pitch, low and away. 2 balls and no strikes to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Let's go, Cal. We'll take anything. Singles, doubles. We'd be definitely looking for home run number 46. Let's go. 2-0 pitch. Fouled it out. Low and away. 2 balls and 1 strike to Big Dumper, Cal Raleigh. Top of the 9th inning, 1-0 Mariner lead. 2-1 pitch, in play, popped up, and flied out to second, 2 away. Yeah, well, you got to understand, too, I'm not going to be able to do every single pitch, especially if I'm interacting with you guys in the chat and obviously looking at 5 different fucking screens and hitting like a billion buttons, hitting all the photos of the players. It's not like I'm doing it just for me. I'm doing it for you guys as well. So for me to be able to give you guys the full experience, there's going to be times where, I might not be able to do every single pitch, but I'll get caught up, at that point, because no one else is going to be doing the photos like me. There's no one else that's doing it. And if someone is, they copied NWSF. So, you got to understand when people do streams, most of the time it's just them and they're not doing anything. They're just talking, but for me, I have to produce the show on the fly, which nobody else is doing besides me. So there's a lot of times where you can go and do like a Zoom room where someone else is, doing the ticker or doing other things while the person is hosting. But I'm doing everything on my own. And so it makes it a little bit more difficult. You have to be able to multitask like a motherfucker. 1-1 pitch, fouled off, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. And plus, no other broadcast is going to be going over the pitches and the location, the speed, where it's at, what type of pitch it is, the location, speed, and again, I'm trying to give as much stats and analytics on, every single inning as I can by also not burning myself out, 1 ball and 2 strikes with nobody on and 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, 1-0 lead with Seattle. Josh Naylor with an RBI single with Randy Arozarena on board in the first inning to give us the 1-0 lead, and we had a pitcher's duel with Kramer and Kirby, but hopefully the game will open up, but even if we win 1-0, we'll take it. 1-2 pitch, and a beautiful single up the middle by Julio Rodriguez, my boy. There we go. And we got a runner on here with the perfect person up next, Josh Naylor. 1 for 3 with an RBI and a K. Let's go, Josh. Oh, I mean, I absolutely have fun, doing this, because I'm not only doing this for me, I'm doing it for, the fans as well, and again, it's something where you don't really see a lot of, baseball streams, I feel, that are fun. Like you're going to be able to get, certain streams for people that are popular for like football and whatnot. And, you can get that excitement. And football is the easiest thing to watch, college football, NFL. But if you're a fan of baseball, basketball, hockey, NASCAR, that's kind of like a niche group. And again, I feel that some people are better than others, at what they do. But again, it's all about, bringing kind of a different aspect, to a game where some people think, it may be a boring sport. We're here to show that it's not as boring as people think, especially if you have a connection to the sport, regardless if you're betting on the games or not. First pitch from Garcia to Naylor, takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Plus I think it's cool to be able to show the HD 4K photos of the players and not just the Mariners, but the opposing team as well, because it gives a chance to match a face with a name. And, a lot of times people don't, get a chance to see them up close if they're, not watching the game live or, whatever the circumstance may be. So it gives us an opportunity as fans to not only learn more about the Mariners, but also to learn about the rest of the teams in the league and to become experts, on the MLB as a whole. And I feel that we do that here better than anybody else on YouTube. 0-1 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 1 strike from Garcia to Naylor. 1-1 pitch, fouled off high and away. Four-seam fastball, 95 miles an hour by Garcia. 1 ball and 2 strikes with a runner at first and 2 outs. Top of the 9th inning, 1-0 Seattle lead. Yeah, and plus, I've been watching wrestling and sports, for like 40 years. I may look pretty young. Some people think I'm in my late 20s or early 30s or mid 30s, which is a great compliment, but I'm 43. I've been watching wrestling and sports since I was 3. So again, I'm built a little bit different. When I used to collect sports cards, I would flip the cards on the back and memorize all the stats. Oh, he went to Stanford, 210. Oh, okay, he hit 40 home runs. Oh, he had 25 doubles. Oh, he had 8 triples. Like, I still played, video games and played with my G.I. Joes and Transformers and Ninja Turtles and my wrestling figures for WWF. But, I definitely had a lot of passion for stats and analytics even when I was a young kid. And, meeting Ken Griffey Jr. and Sandy Koufax when I was 7 and 10 definitely changed my life for the better. And, again, if I didn't have those things happen to me at a young age, maybe I'm not here today. So 2-1 pitch, fouled off. Count now is 2 balls and 2 strikes from Garcia to Naylor. Top of the 9th with a 1-0 lead here for the Mariners. Garcia on the mound, Naylor in the box. 2 balls, 2 strikes, runner at first with 2 outs. 2-2 pitch, fouled off right down the middle by Naylor. Count still remains 2 balls, 2 strikes, runner at first with 2 outs. Mariners hanging on to a 1-0 lead with a RBI single by Naylor in the first, scoring Randy Arozarena, and then it was just a pitching duel between Kramer and Kirby. Nothing too crazy stat-wise between those two, but again, it's been a kind of a slow pace matchup at this point. But again, it still feels like we can get this dub, even if it ends up being a 1-0 win. 2-2 pitch, fouled off again, high and away. Naylor grinding out this at-bat. That was pitch number 7 for Garcia. 2 balls, 2 strikes, runner at first with 2 outs, 1-0 Seattle lead. Yeah, UFC and boxing, I enjoy that. I know UFC got that new deal, and so they'll be on Paramount Plus and CBS, so it'll be interesting to see how that all plays out for that particular sport. Yeah, and I think, it's one of those things, too, where, you never know what you're going to get. It could end up being a game where it's a pitcher's duel, or it could end up being some crazy 9-8 finish, late in extras with a big walk-off home run. And that's what kind of makes it exciting. You don't really know what you're going to get day in and day out. Even if you know the starting lineups, you have no idea how it's going to play out. 2-2 pitch, and Naylor finally flies out to left for out number 3. All right, Mariners, we tried to be able to add on, but we couldn't, and hopefully the pitching and defense will be good, and we can just find a way to win 1-0 here. See who's up next for the O's to see if they have a chance. All right, next up, 1 for 3 with a K, second baseman Jackson Holliday. Batting second, 0 for 3 with a K. In the 2-hole, third baseman Jordan Westberg. And batting third, 1 for 3, shortstop stud Gunnar Henderson. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And I'm curious on who they're going to bring out. If it's Spire is still going to stay out. I mean, since he only had, a pitch or two. So we'll see what they decide to do here. Hopefully they make the right decision. Sometimes Spire is good. Sometimes he's a little shaky. But you would assume Munoz will be coming in. That would be the smart move, even with Gabe's like 1 or 2 pitches. And they do bring in Munoz. There we go. Smart move. Especially with a 1-0 lead. I mean, if we're tied or we're down, then you're not going to bring him in. But when you're ahead, even if it's ahead by 1, you bring him in. And hopefully Munoz doesn't have a meltdown and we can get this dub. Let's go, baby. Trident's up. Let's go M's. And we gained another sub. 27 subs on this stream alone. You guys are solid. Like, sub, donate, comment, share. If you haven't smashed that like button yet, please do. Help us try to get to as close to 200 likes as possible. We gained almost 30 subs on the stream alone, and we're still a little bit behind the 8 ball on the dono train, but once the Mariners win, we might end up getting some donos here late. Flying Monkey with a 5er. Appreciate you. Good timing. Stacks. Racks with a little Cactus Jack. Bang, bang. Appreciate you. $5 holla. Let's get the dub. First pitch from Munoz to Holliday. Takes a big swing and a miss. Low and away. 0-1 count. Good start there for Mooney. Munoz on the mound. Jackson Holliday in the box. 0-1 pitch. Low and away with that slider. 1 ball and 1 strike with nobody on and no outs. Bottom of the 9th. Mariners hanging on to a 1-0 lead. Let's go Mooney. 1-1 pitch, and Holliday grounds out to the pitcher. Throw to first, 1 away. 2 outs away from a victory. We're on a 7-game win streak, and we're hungry for win number 8. And again, if we can win here today and win tomorrow, we'll definitely be going for the sweep. Next up, 0 for 3 with a K, third baseman Jordan Westberg. Well, technically you can get games, even if you don't have Root Sports, there will be other options if you, go to a streaming link, and find one that's reliable, and you could still end up watching games. Sometimes people will just watch me. Sometimes people will watch the game and put it on mute, or sometimes they'll have it on at the same time. And, if you hit me with a follow on X or Instagram, I can send you a link so you can watch the games in North Carolina. If you want that, I can hook you up. Give you a recommendation or two. First pitch to Westberg is low and away, 1-0 count. 1-0 pitch, takes a big swing and a miss right down the middle. 1 ball and 1 strike from Munoz to Westberg. 1-1 pitch, fouled off right down the middle. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Munoz to Westberg. 1-2 pitch. Big swing and a miss. There we go. Nice punch out by Mooney, 2 away. And this is a good Munoz when he's got the control and he gets into, favorable counts, early on. And again, now we're only 1 out away from victory number 8 in a row. And we went and swept the White Sox. right? We swept the Rays. We won 3 out of 4 against the Rangers. We are one of the hottest teams in baseball besides the Milwaukee Brewers. We are the top 2 teams after the All-Star break, and it feels good. First pitch, low and away to Gunnar Henderson from Andres Munoz. Slider, 84 miles an hour, 1-0 count. One-0 pitch, high and away with the sinker. 95 miles an hour, missing the strike zone by about a foot. 2 balls and no strikes from Mooney to Henderson. 2-0 pitch, low and at the knees, low and away. Count now is 3 balls and no strikes to Gunnar Henderson. Yeah, but we also had one of the hardest schedules in the first half of the season. We actually have a top 10 easiest schedule the rest of the way. But the thing is, just because you have a favorable schedule doesn't mean shit, because we actually play good against good teams. We struggle against teams that are mid and bad. We play down to the competition, and that is a 4-pitch walk. So anytime you play, the Marlins or like the Angels or the Athletics, it's harder than playing against the Rangers or the Astros or the Yankees or the Blue Jays or the Tigers. You would think it would be easier, but for the Mariners, it's not, because for whatever reason, we maybe are too overconfident when we play those teams. And if they end up getting an early home run or RBI early and we're down 1-0, 2-0, sometimes we don't come back. Other times we do, but when we play teams that are average or below average, I feel that we struggle with those teams more than the elite teams. When we play against good teams, we may not win every game, but usually we're in every game. We might get blown out once in a 4-game series or a 3-game series by a few runs, but most of the time it's really competitive and we can still come out on top. But when we play the bad or the mid teams, sometimes, it's like you play the White Sox and you win 1 game out of 4 and you're like, what the fuck happened? Like, we're better than this, and it also depends if we're at home or on the road. So, we'll see where it goes. But we'll see. We have a mound visit here with Mooney and the team. And what do we got going on here with the ump? Bottom of the 9th with a runner at first and 2 outs. I wonder if is Mooney dehydrated, or like what's going on here? But I think like the average Mariner fan wouldn't really realize those like types of things. But if you're a fan that watches like every series, you know what I'm talking about. And as of late, we've been able to beat the teams that we're supposed to. But in the beginning of the year, that wasn't really the case. We won 9 consecutive series in a row, right? Averaging 6 runs a game for about a month and a half, as Mooney is dehydrated. So he's just trying to get hydrated here so he doesn't pass out on the mound. And so, which is smart. And Oriole fans are booing, but I mean, what do you want? Our star pitcher, our closer to fall down and fucking injure himself, being dehydrated. So got to make sure that he's good to go. Because again, you can get really lightheaded really quick, especially when that humidity is out. So bottom of the 9th, runner at first with 2 outs, and we're having a ump timeout, so to speak, here. Just trying to get Munoz with some, fluids, so that way he doesn't end up getting too lightheaded here late. And we gained 3 more subs. We gained 30 in this stream alone. 68 to go to hit 21,500. Now, but after, winning 9 consecutive series in a row at the beginning of the year and averaging 6 runs a game for a month and a half, then we shit the bed and we're terrible for a month and a half and scored 1 to 3 runs. So, you're going to have peaks and valleys as a fan of a baseball team. It's not going to be all peaches and cream. First pitch from Mooney to Rushman. Takes a strike looking right down the middle, 0-1 count. Bottom of the 9th with a runner at first with 2 outs, 1-0 Mariner lead. And it looks like Mooney is okay, but it definitely looked like he was getting a little wobbly on the mound. And, again, it's smart for him to be able to call time, and the ump called time, and got a little Gatorade or a little supplement there, and looks like he's doing a little bit better. 0-1 pitch. And Rushman with a single to left. Now you got runners at first and second with 2 outs, and the Orioles are threatening. Next up, DHing in the 5-hole. 0 for 3 with a K, Ryan Mountcastle. And hopefully we can hang on for a 1-0 lead here. Yeah, I mean, here in Oregon, in the Pacific Northwest, Oregon and Washington, we've had 100-degree temperature for the last 4 days. So even with like AC and fans on, it's still like 80, here, so inside. So it's not really that comfortable, and over 100 outside. Humidity ain't nothing to fuck around with. First pitch from Mooney to Mountcastle. Big swing and a miss. Right down the middle, 0-1 count. Bottom of the ninth, 1-0 Seattle lead with runners at first and second and 2 outs for the O's. And we ended up getting that 1-0 lead with a RBI single by Josh Naylor, knocking in Randy Arozarena from second. And it's been a pitcher's duel between Kramer and Kirby. And that's why we're stuck at this particular score. 0-1 pitch, fouled off, low and at the knees. Mooney tries to jam Mountcastle and does. We're 1 strike away from our 8th win in a row. Come on, Mooney. Oh-2 pitch, low and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes with runners at first and second and 2 outs. And that foul ball, if it was maybe 10 feet to the right, then it would have been game over and we would have lost. So maybe bigger than 10 feet, 15, 20 feet. 1-2 pitch, fouled off, high and away. 1 ball and 2 strikes from Mooney to Mountcastle. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Come on, Mooney. Let's go, baby. Find a way. It doesn't always have to be pretty. Sometimes you're going to get these ugly 1-0 wins or 2-1 wins. And, it's not ideal, but again, a win is a win, especially in baseball. Not every game is going to be 9-8 or, 7-6. Bottom of the ninth, runners at first and second with 2 outs. 1-2 pitch, and Mountcastle grounds out to JP, throw to first, and that is the game. Let's go. Trident's up. Let's go, M's. Our 8th win in a row. Astros, here we come, baby. That's what I'm talking about. Let's go. Trident's up. Nice job by Andres Munoz, even though it wasn't pretty. Ended up having guys at first and second, but JP Crawford gets the job done to Josh Naylor, baby. That's what I'm talking about. And this team is a World Series contender. Don't you forget it. And we haven't been able to say anything like that, in 21 years, since 2001. So it feels really good to be able to bring this together. Final score, Seattle Mariners 1, Baltimore Orioles 0. And when the Mariners win, what do? We fucking dance. Mariners win. Mariners win. Mariners win. Fuck yeah. Let's go, baby. 8 games in a row, and we're looking for 9 tomorrow and 10 on Thursday. Let's go. I mean, we're just trying to be the American League Milwaukee Brewers right now, and we're finding a way to, be hot just like them. And we're not on their level, obviously based off the wins and the losses, but based on being the hottest teams in each perspective league, we're doing our thing. The Brewers are amazing, but the Mariners have really been able to turn a corner after the All-Star break. Great job, Seattle, with the 1-0 victory. Let's go, baby. Let's go. Trident's up. Judah in the building. What's good? And then anything I can do photo-wise for Sixth Base, Chris, David, Marla, NIT, and Flying Monk, let me know. If there's anything I can do photo-wise for the people that donated to the channel, let me know, and I gotcha. Oh, man. And again, not every game is going to end up being 1-0, but again, those are the ones that you need to get done, especially on the road, and the Mariners really aren't a very good team on the road. But, with that being said, really, there's only one good team in baseball on the road this year, and that's the Brewers. And obviously they have the best record in baseball, but they're really the only team that has been in that 9, 10, 11 games above 500 on the road. If you look at records of a lot of teams, yeah, you got a great record at home, but you're supposed to. The elite teams find a way, to have that above 500 record on the road. And, we understand how hard it is to win on the road for every baseball team. But again, you want to get hot and healthy at the right time. And right now for the Brewers and Mariners, it's our time, and we are rolling. Eight in a row, baby. Great job, man. And again, I couldn't do it without you. I appreciate you, especially since Captain has that new job. So he's not able to be here on the daily basis, but you usually are here as often as you can be. And again, it just makes it easier so that way I don't have to say it over and over if I don't have anyone else that I feel that I can rely on, day in and day out. So I really do appreciate the support all day. You do a great job every time that you're here. And and again, I can't wait for tomorrow, and hopefully we can get the dub tomorrow, same time, same place. And then on Thursday, the game is on early in the morning. So let's take a quick peek ahead to see where we're at and take a look at the sub count that we've gained as well. And we've gained another sub. We've actually made some real solid ground today. We gained 31 subs on this stream alone. So that's awesome. We're definitely going in the right direction. And let's take a look at the matchups for the next 2 days. All right, so we are going to be live tomorrow, same time, same place. I'll be live at 3:30 Pacific, and we got Logan Gilbert on the mound for the Mariners, and Trevor Rogers for the O's. Trevor Rogers is 5-2. Gilbert is 3-4. I like our chances there. And then on Thursday, we play the first game of the morning, 10:05 on MLB Network, and that'll be Logan Evans against Sugano. Evans is 6-4, but he can't really win on the road. So the only way that we're going to win that game is if Evans somehow can find a way to win on the road, and we end up hitting 5 runs, 7 to 10 hits or more. That will be the tough one, but hopefully we can get the dub tomorrow and then kind of go from there. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Definitely if the Mariners make the playoffs, I'm definitely streaming the playoffs for sure. And I can't wait to be able to see where this team goes here in 2025. Love you guys, and I appreciate you guys very, very much. Shout out to All Day, as well as all the people that came through to support. Six Face, Chris, David, Marla, NIT, and Flying Monk. Appreciate you guys very, very much. Final score, 1-0 Mariners. And again, we will be live tomorrow, same time, same place, 3:30 Pacific, with Logan Gilbert on the mound. And I got one question for you. Who talk sports like us? Your boy Ryan, Northwest Sports Fanatics, 1-0 final. Tridents up. Go M's.